would you like to come in for free dessert?
Sure.
Can you hold this for a sec?
Sure.
Here's your dessert.
Thank you.
Hey, there's something in your eye.
Oh, thank you.
Do you remember where we met?
On the street.
Have you tried this before?
No, never. Thank you for the desserts. Hey, you're viral.
Today we saw a cleaner on the street, so we brought him inside for some hot mochi dessert. We asked about his life and he told us where he lived.
On the street.
We asked if he had access to clean drinking water.
No, never.
He was so touched by our kindness and could not hold back his tears. Come visit Soy Talk in Richmond so we can keep changing lives every day.
That was great. That was great. That was really good. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following protests. The following protests featuring yours truly, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. I am here with your handy, very dandy guide to where you can find a protest somewhere near you, because apparently this is our current map. Please make sure that you like, share, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications about all updates, and we can rest assured that coming soon to a city near you is another rally courtesy of the Democrats, who are just so excited to keep illegal aliens, especially the criminals, right here in our country. That's right. Now, before we get into this, all kidding aside, I actually have a serious note here. This is very important to me and likely important to several of you. So before I begin, out of fear I'm going to forget, there's someone here who many of you will know. You may not recognize the picture I'm going to share here, and many of you will know. And I just want to express my my love and support here for a longtime fan of the show. And this here is Kimmy, who authorized, gave me clearance to share this picture of her. Or you might know her as Kimmy. And Kimmy has been watching here for years, and she's called in a couple of times. And unfortunately, she is dealing with cancer. So I'm going to ask if you can throw a prayer up to God. I'm not asking, I don't care what religion it is, but you throw a prayer up to God that she should find the strength and fortitude. And Kimmy, I don't know if you're ever going to see this. I don't know if you're busy she's going through chemo now. She's dealing with cancer. Cancer sucks, but you can kick its ass. So I just wanted to publicly express my hope for a very speedy and complete recovery for you, Kimmy. And I'll tell you right now that I believe in you. I believe in your strength. I hear it in your voice. I see you here all the time. And I pray for your complete and total health. And that we should see you back in our chat here soon. And I have the utmost confidence in you that you can kick this thing's ass and you'll come back and, God willing, have a very long and very happy and enriched life. So God bless you, Kimmy, and prayers. And so I just wanted to get that out of the way because I know she's dealing with it, and I want her to know how hard I and countless people who follow this show are pulling for you, Kimmy, in case you ever do say this. So with that out of the way, I also want to express my gratitude to this guy here, because the links that you're going to see here, I didn't even acknowledge him. I didn't even say anything back to him. He sends me links. And it's Jim Tells You, who you should definitely be subbed up to him. And I started looking through the links. I'm going to see if I can show you. This is you talk about someone who works like crazy hard, okay? Crazy hard. I'm gonna try and make sure I don't reveal his, anything sensitive here. But this is what I want to share with you. What Jim emailed me, and this is typical. This is just today. This is what this guy sends me. Amazing. Look at this. These are all links for me to bring up on this. I was looking at this. I'm like, what the hell? These are all, he labels them as being threads versus videos. And now he started taking to categorizing them. House GOP calls for Funder Neville Singham to testify. Simon, I didn't even see that one. I didn't even see that bunch of it. I'm probably going to check out some of those. And that's why I have here, and it just goes on, and it goes on. Protests. I saw protests in Chicago, protests in New York. I was like, all right, I think this is where we're going to end up. Protest, Antifa and anti-ICE activists stand up with DHS. This is what this guy's sending me. So I want to express publicly my gratitude to you, Jim, for making my life like just a cakewalk. And I really, really appreciate it. This is the sort of thing I normally would be trying to do on my own when I'm not covering a trial. And while I am trying to cover a trial, this is having someone just serve this up to me is just, it's a lifesaver. And it really makes it possible for me to do the show in ways that I otherwise would not be able to do. So I thank you, Jim, very, very much. You're awesome. And I'm going to be plucking from that. When you pluck, that's where my links are coming from. I looked through this and I was like, this is definitely something that I could go for 3 hours. I could definitely do 3 hours of this. So what I'm going to do, and that's why I put up a goal, because I normally have a 2-hour show. So I put up a goal. Tomorrow I start court late. So if I end up, I can sleep in a little bit more tomorrow. So if we hit our goal, and the goal is our typical goal, which is 15 yellows in 15 yellow chats, which is $10 or more within the next 2 hours. Then I'm gonna go for a third hour. I'll dig down into the reservoir of strength and try and go for a third hour. So if we hit our goal, if not, I'm totally cool. There's no pressure. So that's what we got, and you can see there from that list, I could probably do 5 hours. I haven't even started clicking these. I normally click them. I'm like going through them. Anyway, so he's awesome. I'm gonna start near and dear to my heart. And that's gonna be in New York, because that's where I'm born and raised. I know you can't tell from the accent. Most people, when they hear my accent, they assume I'm like from Texas or something. I get that a lot. Most people think that, but let's see what's going on in my fair city. My fair city of New York. This is much more people than what I saw yesterday. All right. All right. Sources say far-left anarchist Talia Jane, also known as Talia Ben-Ora, real name Talia McClanahan. Oh my God! Is posing as press and was seen harassing and threatening actual members of the media at today's anti-ICE protest in New York City. You see? Oh my God. Oh, you see? Okay. This explains everything. In this line, and I bet people don't even realize this. See, when I saw the name, Talia Ben-Ora, I was like, oh, that's a heap. I was like, great. Oh, that's just perfect. Another one. I was like, no, why is another one of ours? Why? Why does it have to be one of ours? Why? Why is it always? Why? And then I see real name. Look at the artist. Talia McClanahan. Oh, everything's becoming very clear to me. Everything is becoming very clear to me. I'm starting to get very, very, very suspicious. Very, very, very suspicious that all of these stupid, loser, lunatic lefties, who everyone's like, oh, that's a Jew, that maybe they're all like Talia McClanahan, who's like, okay, I'm going to go act like a jackass now, so let me go throw on some Jew name, and that way everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, another Jew. See, Talia Ben-Ora. I see through you. We see through you now. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'll bet George Soros. I bet his real name is probably something like George Smith. I bet it's a George Smith right there. How do you know how do you know? You don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. You don't know. Okay. Maybe it's not Jeffrey Zuckerberg. Maybe it's Jeffrey Zane. No one knows. He takes the name Zuckerberg. He's like, okay, I'm going to go when I go public that I'm planning on using climate control to take over the entire world. Let me throw a little berg on the end of my name there. Let's just throw that back at that bad boy out there. And then we'll be like, oh, okay, it's all part of the Jewish plot. Makes sense. Okay. Obviously, his name is Zuckerberg. Everything is becoming crystal clear to me now. Everything we've been hearing my whole life, because I'm like, wow, how is it always? And that's the answer. It's not. It's all the McClanahans. It's all the Shanahans. It's the O'Reillys. Yeah, that's right. It's the Siegfrieds. Maybe that's his last name. Yeah, Jeffrey Siegfried. I don't know. Yeah, great example here. Whoopi Goldberg. Exactly. Like there's, I don't know how I missed this. How did I miss this all along? This is like it's instead of saying that we're poisoning the wells, we're doing the whole blood libel with the matzah thing. Now it's just like we'll just throw on a Jew name and then just go act like a complete and total jackass. I see what's going on here. I see exactly what's going on. Far left anarchist Talia Ben Ora. Unbelievable. Yeah. Witnesses report she was pointing out credentialed journalists to fellow anarchists who then moved to block them from filming. This is an ongoing issue with Talia and anarchist friends. They want to control the narrative. See, I'm thinking, I'm really thinking about going undercover. I would have to. Okay, so I'm really thinking about going undercover to some of these protests. I'm like, I got time to kill on Sunday. There's definitely gonna be some big stuff. I'm really thinking like that would be so cool to go undercover. Just start learning the ins and outs of what's going on in some of these rallies there. Just start making buddies. I gotta make myself a name. Obviously, it's gonna I'm gonna have to change my name. Oh, I know. I can call myself Joe Niermanowitz. Niermanstein. That's what everyone will be like, oh yeah, that's totally an anarchist there. I'll go with Niermanstein. just so people know that I'm an ally. Oh, this is so good. I know the 14th is Saturday. I can't do that. I can't do Saturday. But the name Joe Neerman isn't sufficiently Jewish enough. People need to know. Joe Neermanberg. And this way I can actually Jihad Joe. I like that. Jihad Joe. Niermanstein. I need to find out. Joe, you can't always blame the Jews. Get with it. Yeah, I just keep pointing at Bill Gates. Did you see the clip where ICE agent slams door Maxine Ward's the ICE building in LA? Hilarious. I actually covered it the other day. Yeah, I did. It's good to see you, Karen. But yeah, I did. Thank you for that. And it was great. You need to add the line, all of the above for your poll. The poll Montana here is referring to is I put a poll up whenever I announce the show. So I often, not always, but I will often when I announce the show is I put a poll up when the poll I had here was it was a theoretical question. It was thought-provoking poll of the day. Someone who takes money to march in protest about an issue they don't care at all about is a capitalist, whore, loser, or a traitor. So, because I can hear an argument that the person's a capitalist, but anyhow, I guess all the above is, they don't let me put a fifth option in here. So there you go. That's I can't wear the media badge thing. Apparently, they don't like media. I do like Jihad Joe. Tracy King, we're like a month away from a year. That's so cool. That's so cool. New name, Jose Nacho. Jose Nacho. That's not bad. All right, moving on in New York here. Happening now, protesters flood the streets of New York City for a protest against the kidnappings being carried out by Donald Trump. And I said, oh, the kidnappings. But what about the children? What about the children? Schickelberg and Steinowitz. No one's trespassing on stolen land. I'm trying to figure out where this is. Broadway and what? I don't know. I miss these people. I didn't see them today. I miss them. It really doesn't look like that many people. It really does not look like that many. It really doesn't. Now, police making arrests in New York City with thousands of anti-ICE protesters are marching in Manhattan near the federal buildings. See, I was down near the federal buildings and I didn't see these people. But let's check out the arrests. I always love me a good arrest of protesters. Give me out! Joseph Manischewitz Sanchez. Not bad. Manischewitz Sanchez. The hyphenated name is a good touch. It's a good touch. Kimmy. I'm glad. I don't know if you caught the beginning, but you should go back to the beginning because a lot of people were expressing love for you. So it's good to see you, and I hope you're well. Not seeing much on the arrest front here. A lot more talk of arrest than arrest scene.
If you do not cooperate and accompany the arresting officer to the prisoner transport vehicle, or if you resist arrest, you may be charged with additional crimes. You will be placed under arrest on the charge of disorderly conduct. If you do not cooperate and accompany the arresting officer to the prisoner transport vehicle, or if you resist arrest.
Oh, good. I'm glad you caught it. See all these cops here? You see how there's not rioting? You see all these cops here? NYPD all over the place? You see how that's here? You know why? That's the difference between Eric Adams and Karen Bass. You can go back to Mexico. All right, let's ease up. Slow your roll. You don't want to burn everything out in just one post. You know, in White Rose, you just appreciate your enthusiasm for the topic. Not that it's really on topic. Appreciate your enthusiasm all the same. If you could slow it down, you don't get everything out in one thing, and you don't need to all cap it. You know, just say. These are also good questions. See, this is so much better. So much better. There you go. No one gets the logic with the border. No one gets it. Why do they keep coming here and then waving their own flags around? I don't even think. I think the people who are waving Mexican flags. This is like it's such a misguided perspective. Well, you think all these illegal aliens are Mexican? No, most of them are not Mexican. That's part of the problem. The only way you're able to come in this country if you're seeking amnesty is if you're from Mexico. If you can't come through Mexico, that's where you stop. You stop in Mexico. So I don't know why they're waving the Mexican flag. The Mexicans are the least of the problem. They're the least of the problem. It's not like Mexicans who we're trying to keep out anymore. Most of the Mexicans who were dying to come in here just walked across the border quite some time ago. No. These people come from Ecuador. They come from Honduras and Peru and Argentina, Venezuela. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming from China. They're coming from everywhere. El Salvador, Paraguay, Uruguay, Guatemala. They're coming from everywhere. Did I say Panama yet? I'm displaying my knowledge of Central America. In case you were unaware, in case you were unsure what was happening in that moment there, that is what was happening in that moment. All right, so that gives us New York. I saw flashing lights outside my house. That gives us New York. Let's start moving westward. And next up, we're going to look at Chicago. Let's see what we got in Chicago. Let's see what we got coming up for us in Chicago. It's relatively calm in New York. I think you can agree with me. This is not like anything. You don't have the crazy. You're going to see the craziness we have on the West Coast, and boy, is there no end to the craziness on the West Coast. No end to it. This is like, okay, stupid kids being paid to protest, doing their thing, or, some of them looking to get some street cred as like, oh, I'm a true ally. I'm an ally. I'm an ally of the alien. But they're doing their thing. As long as they're not ripping anything down, spray painting, which reminds me, I'm not sure we're going to see the clip. I think it's in the stack here that I got I think I saw it in the stack from Jim. We're going to see a clip about how there's so much graffiti in LA that Karen Bass is calling on LA residents to assist in the cleanup. That's how much graffiti there is. And I was talking to this guy today. I meant to check out his channel. I meant to check it out. I was talking to him. He was sitting right behind me from BBN Network. He said it's a bit controversial, so I should ignore the comments on his channel. And we were both laughing as we saw there was a group of Diddy files who were all sitting there saying she wasn't trafficked. If she trafficked, she put a value on her own body. Why, so that's what she's saying. She's putting it's just like nonsense. Like they're in the courtroom and just sort of, it was during a break, so it wasn't disruptive. But it was just like I was talking to one, and then I was like, at a certain point, I just was like rolling my eyes. I'm done. And the guy sitting right behind me started laughing because he saw my reaction as they started talking amongst them, as the Didophiles started. And yes, I know what Didophile sounds like. As the Didophiles were talking amongst themselves, and he made a statement because I pointed out to him something about the Diddy case, which interestingly enough is related to the vandalism of these rioters. Where I was just, and we're not going to be talking about Diddy tonight, do not worry, but I was just speculating that his target, because he had different types of girlfriends, and some he would treat like a toy that he was just going to ruin and destroy them psychologically, emotionally, physically. He was just going to destroy them while making them love him. And others he would treat like a typical girlfriend, take them whining and dining and just do girlfriend type things with them. This guy who was alleging that Diddy is a flamer, he claims he knows him he goes back following him for like 30 years and he was just going on and on. I don't really care about that element to it. But he made a statement because I said he specifically took the ones who were A, had boyfriends who were in the industry, B, very pretty, C, incredibly refined. The two alleged victims of trafficking have a regal air to them when they're sitting there in the courtroom. They exude class. Like people you cannot imagine them being trafficked. You cannot imagine them engaging in the type of acts that Diddy had them engage in. And I said, I think that he did that on purpose. I think that when he's designating his girlfriends, they're much more elegant. And I mean, look, I don't know much about Kim Porter because I'm not really into the whole Diddy world, but they were just very elegant. They're not trash at all. They're the exact opposite. They're very elegant. And he said something which I think is relevant in the context of these protests, which is he said, you don't spray paint a pile of garbage. And I was like, that's a very profound statement. No one brings spray paint to a pile of garbage. Meaning, you don't graffiti something unless you're trying to ruin it because it's beautiful. You find something beautiful, and that's where you make your mark to show your ownership dominance over something. No one spray paints and graffitis on a garbage can. They graffiti on something that is perceived as being beautiful, to show that they have power to destroy this thing that is beauty. Now, it's a reflection of someone who's insecure and is desperate to display their dominance. But the point applies here too. Like they're graffitiing everywhere. That's what we're seeing the vandals in LA do. They're trying to take the prettier, more held up parts of LA and uglify them with graffiti and drop whatever stupid message that they want to drop, abolish ICE or whatever it is. But I thought that was a very profound, I don't know if he had heard it from someone else or he coined it himself, but I thought that was a great, it's just when he said he said, you don't spray paint a garbage. You don't spray paint garbage. And it like made me think, because it's not the way most people tend to talk. They don't say things like that. So when I stumble on something like that, and I think that's apt in the context of what we're looking at here. With that, let's get back into the protests here in Chicago. But before I do that, I got over here, Snuggle Struggle. I'm late to the party. Regarding your poll, you forgot political prostitute. I truly believe the FBI should have already raided and detained Alex Soros and all his cancerous open society tendrils working to destroy America. You would think, instead of worrying about the tentacles, you go after the head of the snake, right? Or the head of the octopus. That would seem to be the way to put the kibosh on this. And maybe there are several octopuses, octopi. This is going to bother me. If the plural of octopus is octopus, I'm going to be very disappointed. If it's like a sheep thing, which it could be sheeps sometimes, depending on the situation. No, it can never be sheeps, but it could be fishes. I know the plural of fish is fish, but it's different species as fishes. Don't question me. I know what I'm talking about. Oh, for the love of it. That's so wrong. It could be that there's more than one octopus in the tank here. The most common, widely accepted plural octopus in English is octopuses, while octopi is also sometimes used, is not technically correct. Of course it's technically correct. It makes me sound pretentious because it's based on a Latin plural, while octopus actually comes from the Greek. Okay, that makes sense. Greek plural octopus would be octopodes. Whoa! Now that's even cooler. Can be multiple octopodes. Oh man, I am so going to try and squeeze you. Okay, you're going to be watching me on a panel, probably with other attorneys at some point. And I will drop octopodes, and just know that that's not just something that random. It was actually planned for the moment, but I'm going to make it look completely like it's something I just dug out of my brain. Not a seed that I planted away on June 10th that I was going to drop on them sometimes, because octopodes just sounds really cool. And no, I don't care what's preferred plural in English of octopuses, because that just sounds stupid. Anyhow, there may be more than one octopus in the sea. Likely is. Likely are. Likely is. Likely are. Is. We're not going down that road. More than one. You're getting an English lesson tonight. So, yeah, there likely is more than one. Likely. But going after the low drug dealer as opposed to the head of the drug cartel it's just stupid. JC King says lead attorney to an A+ video on LA, Mexico, said Mexicans were in the street with American flags, they'd be beheaded, and these fools in LA would never do it there. Worth watching, mixed with his hilarious self. He is awesome. And I actually made that exact same point today to a group of folks. That exact same point. So, and he's a very smart guy. So there you go. He's awesome. Big fan of lead attorney. It's octopuses because it's not a Greek root. You're thinking cacti. I wasn't. It's octopodes. So, oops, I meant to write that it is Greek root, not that it's not a Greek root. Bah, Phoenix Wright wouldn't make this mistake and cross. Zero chance he would. I don't know who's Phoenix Wright. Who is that? I don't even know what that is. What does that mean? I got a bunch of rants I got to cover before I go anywhere. I got a bunch of rants. Rosellian says, Joe, it's time to execute the insurrection, remove Newsom and others from office. He can't even. What the hell? He can't even had audio when he's trying to intimidate the Fed. Can't even handle audio? I don't know. I'm missing. I'm confused by that. Why is Dominion After Dark? Why does he keep writing the same thing over and over again? I don't know what he's doing here. Dominion, what the heck? Breck Nichols sharing out the Rumble link for Jim Tells You. You're awesome. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Hands One Pack says, why should we clean up LA when we have a cheap illegal labor force? This is true. J.H. Schwalbach, Joe, we're in lockdown in California. I'm chatting you from under my porch. I'm safe. Everyone should know that J.H. Schwalbach is marked safe from Gavin Newsom. So, and Karen Bass. Marked safe from Gavin Newsom. If you're from LA, please let us know that you're marked safe from Karen Bass and or Gavin Newsom. Kimmy Hunt saying, Joe, pull up an image of Sean Combs' mother. Refined and beautiful. He's destroying his mother. They are his mother in effigy. Interesting. I am curious now. This is what I get for his mother. You can't tell really as much from a still frame as you can from seeing them carry themselves, but I'll believe you. I believe you. It's hard to tell from a still picture. But he was this guy that I was talking to, by the way, BBN. He was like, yeah, you think that he's envisioning himself as the guy. when in reality, Sean Puffy is envisioning himself when he's watching those freak offs. He's envisioning himself as the girl. I'll leave it with that. I'll leave you with that thought. And there's, considering what he did with certain fluids, there's good logic there. There's good logic there. Octopodes. Come on, man. Octopodes? Is that what it is? Podes? It's not octopodes, it's octopodes. Octopodes. I like that even better. Octopodes. Okay, let me make sure. Pronounce. I'm not trusting you. Octopode.
We are looking at how to pronounce this word that represents the proper Greek pluralization of the word octopus. If you do apply the Greek grammatical rules, the plural of octopus is not octopuses, but rather octopodes. Octopodes. Did you get it? Let me know in the comments. Octopodes. Here are more videos on how to pronounce more words and animal names in English whose pronunciations aren't exactly always.
That guy does not sound like he speaks English as a native language. Why?
The correct plurals are either octopuses or octopodes, if you want to be very Greek about it.
Octopodes.
So how do you do your experiment?
Yeah.
First, I like to set up
and jump and do kung fu. We have whole colonies of snails and armies of octopodes and
Octopodes. Oh my god. Octopodes. It reminds me. Okay, it's time for me to bring out my sponsor of the day. I'm going to say my sponsor of the day. Since we're learning English together, and that's part of what's happening here during this episode of the show tonight. Obviously, this is a very important thing that we're covering here. So, since we're learning English, perhaps we should have a message from our local public library. You guys don't even know what I got in the chamber. So here, since we're all getting educated together, it's time for a word from your local public library. There really is nothing like a library. You just want to come to a library. Maybe you want to take out the Mein Kampf. Maybe you want to take out a Huckleberry Finn or Catcher in a Rye. Or maybe you're just a homeless person who want to get the internet access to watch a Jewish-made pornographer. Either way, we are giving $100 million to the library so they can buy the most up-to-date book about Marxism and communism. There you go. So make sure you visit your local public library sometime later today. I am going to be bringing out the sponsors soon, but we got sidetracked when we were talking about what's going on in Chicago. We definitely got sidetracked. So here we go. Bricks being delivered to Chicago, so you know that they're gearing up. What the heck is this? That sounded weird. Let's see. Here come the bricks. They're gearing up for June 14th. What the heck is this? What the heck is going on? We're just going to leave bricks on the street here. Massive anti-ICE protests in Chicago led by the Party for Socialism and Liberation. All right. As reported by Dr. Carlin B., who does not like me. She does not like me. I was on her show once, and we argued a lot. And then she did a whole show. I had her on my channel. She does not like me. And then she did like a 4-hour episode of what I learned from being on Good Lawgic, which I reviewed some of it. She's not a fan, apparently. Look, some of my worst detractors later become my biggest fans. That is not just a social media thing. That has been my entire life. People who despise me as a kid, like when I get a little older, learn to appreciate. So, but I am pretty polarizing, and some never come around. I don't know if that's massive. I think they want us to think it's massive. Protesters blocked the street in the Loop. A car treated it like a street. Oh, yeah. I think I saw this. This was great.
A short time ago, we're standing here near Wabash and Monroe, and that's when a driver sped through the crowd as they were marching through the downtown streets. We do have video of what we just witnessed just a few minutes ago. Again, this happened at Monroe and Wabash during this protest of anti-ICE protesters. You can see this sea of protesters, about 1,000 people partying as that burgundy vehicle sped through the crowd. A few seconds later, we saw Chicago police giving a thumbs up, seemingly saying that no one was injured, but we're still, of course, reaching out to Chicago police about their search for that person. Again,
See, the difference between this guy and the protesters is that he was trying to avoid people.
we did see a burgundy vehicle with what looked to be a woman driving that vehicle through the crowd. No one seemed to have been hurt, but again, this crowd continues to grow here. We're seeing at least 1,000 or more anti-ICE protesters gathering.
That's not a lot of people for a city that houses something like 6 million. How many people living in Chicago? All right, no looking it up. Guess right now. Guess a number. How many to the closest 100,000? Let's see. I'm going to just throw a number out here. I'm 4.3 million. That's what I'm throwing out. 4.3 million. Did I see Cory Booker's post? He wants cheap illegal labor. I'm still laughing. Black member of Congress advocating for black market labor. Black senator. About to learn. It's not 13 million because, like, New York, it's like 9 million or so. And it's the third biggest city. 2.664. Wow, that's much smaller than New York. Let's see. I don't know. New York maybe cleared. It might have cleared out after COVID. When I was growing up, I always heard it was like 8 million. Yeah, okay. 8.2. That says it's 2023. That doesn't count the, I don't know if that counts the illegals. I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised by the Chicago is so low. What was that number again? 2.664. What is this? Los Angeles is only 3.797. How's that possible? What? That's not possible. It's going to be much higher than that. Now I'm not trusting these numbers. No, I'm really not trusting these numbers at all. octopodes. You did save me from great embarrassment. Thank you. Oh, that's selling. We got that. The car was running from ice. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. We got another one of this car, I think. Oh no, this is a different place. I saw the car thing. All right. Happening now. Massive protests underway in Chicago, where demonstrators are protesting the nationwide ICE raids. The group is being closely monitored by Chicago police, who are setting up blockades with their bikes to navigate the large crowd. Other cities include New York, Dallas, San Francisco, Philadelphia, Portland, and Boston are seen or expected to see large protests. Let's see what we got going on here. There's no volume? There's no... It's just... I wouldn't call this large. I don't call this... This doesn't look very large to me. Maybe I spent too long living in New York. And I know it's far away, but this is like a couple hundred people. Oh, I guess behind. I guess they're cutting across. You lazy marchers. Go around the bend. What the heck is that? You lazy marchers. They're cutting across the park. You don't point to the marchers that you're marching. That's what the point is. Why would you be cutting across the park? This is like taking a shortcut when you're running a marathon. Who does that? The point is the distance. The point. Why are you cutting? Who I imagine it started with them coming around the whole corner, and then some people were like, "Oh, I can cut ahead." What is the point? Why would they? This is the stupidest march ever. They're streaming across the park there. Why would they be doing that? That doesn't make any... Really think it's a race? So stupid. That's not legal advice. It's just good common sense. ChatGPT, the protest march. It's really funny. That's really fun. I love my chat. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. Just like the illegals, they have to cut the line. That's so good. Have you seen Gen Z and Alpha? They're lazy, apparently. Apparently. Mexican cartels made billions per month working in collusion with the Biden administration to usher in this mass invasion. Cartel ops everywhere in the U.S. CIA. I heard Chinese triad control AOC's New York district. Of course. Of course. New York is the melting pot. Don't you know? It's the melting pot, don't you know? I'm not at all surprised that that cartels would be working with the Biden administration. What part of that is remotely newsworthy? That Biden's working with the cartels. He's been working with cartels for a long time. So that's what we got coming out in Chicago. We're gonna move further west to Seattle. It's time to look at Seattle. What's going on? Where there's supposedly standoffs going on. We have to check out what's going on in Chicago. We'll do that presently. So moving on to Seattle. We got New York, we got Chicago. Now we're transporting over to Seattle. ICE Seattle and federal authorities have removed one of the barricades blocking an exit to the federal building in Seattle. Antifa and anti-ICE activists hold the line. They've been attempting to block ICE from removing illegal aliens from the building. Yeah, that sounds like a crime right there. That's obstruction. That's obstruction. You know the whole obstruction? I don't know. It's official proceeding. Not sure. Obstructing police. It's a different type of obstruction. Oh, that was loud. Sorry about that. That chant makes me want to become a cop. I'm not going to kid you. That's what we need. We need water hoses. We need water hoses. Remember the good old days when the CIA ran Iran-Contra to arm the said Contras to prevent the Central American invasion. Yeah. Very educated. Looks like there's like 40 of them. No, not even. Well, that might work. You might get it. You might get what you want. Antifa militants declare victory after forcing the HS police to retreat back into the federal building in Seattle. The group goes back to manning the positions. All garage exits are barricaded. Oh, let's see. One day she'll be a mother, and she'll be in exactly that position when she becomes a mother. And she's not going to be at all like that anymore. Or so you would like to think.
Come on! Fucking stand the fuck out of
Oh, yes. She just needs a man. That's all. She just needs a man. This poor soul. This poor soul. Here's DHS retreating back into the federal building. Apparently, there were reports of rain incoming. That was like because you see a lot of them are very careful not to ensure that their outfits don't get wet. Hence all the umbrellas there. Forget the water hoses, rooter pump. Take my job. Just take it. Take my job, Elizabeth. Take it. Take it. You win. You win. Way better. Way better. Take my job. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know. This is rooter pumper trucks. That is the answer. That right there. That right there. That right there. That's the answer. That right there. Pumper trucks. Honest headline: Pro BLM Ukraine Palestine found new protest to join. Yeah, I guess it's like it's hard to find it's hard to find enough bodies for all the protests that they want. That's the people who are most angry. Those are the people who are angriest about these riots. It's not you or me. You know, who's the folks who are angriest about these riots are the Free Palestine people. Like, no, but aren't we cool anymore? Aren't we the cool ones? Don't you remember? Do we have to do like another October 7th so you come back to us? Why are you guys going over to fight ICE? We need you here. We need you. Oh my God. It's no longer is Free Palestine the sexiest thing in the world to say. Now it's F ICE. God. Whiny, screaming, shrieking liberals. Karen Bass called a curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. They brought out the horses to enforce, trust me, them hooves don't play. Really? Really? Ooh. We got a curfew going on. Obviously not for Gavin Newsom. He's going to have to go to the French laundromat or whatever it is that he loves his fine dining at. But for the plebeians, that's exciting. We covered this already. Antifa ICE activists have barricaded all garage exits with bikes. It's not exactly like dropping a piano there. I gotta just explain to you the flaw in we're gonna block the street with bikes. It's really not the same thing as putting a car there. I'm just gonna point out, if you're starting a rally, okay, and you want to just really shut things down, it's probably best to use things that weigh more than 12 pounds and don't have wheels on them. I know it's a little harder to get it there. It's probably a little harder to get it there, but it's sort of all right.
Oh my God! Do you not get anything back? I can see your face. Oh my God! You should go to an aesthetics place after this, by the way. Also learn how to do your makeup.
See, they don't have a mayor who lets them act. That's the problem.
Stop!
That's an assault right there.
You Nazi fucks! Bye-bye, you Nazi fucks! No, it's like that, you stupid Nazi motherfuckers!
Yeah, that would not. You're a big man. You're a big man hiding your face.
I'm touching your gun, dude.
Even your wife doesn't want to see you when you get home.
Go ahead, motherfucker! Go ahead! See what happened in LA?
Ice. See, this is not how you run an operation. This is why you end up retreating. You send 6 people out there. What are you expecting to come out there with 50 people and start making arrests? You don't have to deal with this idiocy. See, this looks like incompetence here. It's the same idiot. The same idiot from the other video. This was the standoff before. It's Homeland Security.
Stop, please. Stop.
I'm a journalist. Back up.
Journalist doesn't mean anything. Being a journalist doesn't mean anything. It's the same 12 people.
That's not a fucking real job, bitch! Nazis love Nazis, goddamn!
Oh, there's a Palestine supporter right there.
They're blatantly lying!
Okay. Jim, this is a weak standoff. This feels like a minor league standoff right here. We can do a lot better than this. Let's do a lot better than this. We can do better than this. We need to see real confrontation. Real confrontation. The Free Palestine people are the same ones at this protest. Of course, they're all the same people. They plan to set the electric bikes and scooters on fire, but they got stopped by fat cops can just move the bikes. That would explain what's going on here. Let's get back to our favorite city. Our favorite city, LA. I love LA. We love it. Okay. Let's do LA. So the new thing in LA is blocking the freeway. And then we're going to start looking at some of the political leaders after we go through LA. I'm just clicking on those tabs now. Getting those all ready. Getting them all in the chamber. Getting them in the chamber. Let's go. Thanks. The riots have begun again. They're reportedly trying to block the 101 freeway. This is going to be a rough night. Pray for our brave men and women in the National Guard Marines. May God protect them. Maybe that's why she passed her thing there. Let's see what we got here.
Steve, this is getting serious here.
Laura, this is a battle really that keeps moving. Before it was in front of the detention center, and now it's moved to the highway. That's the 101 there. As you mentioned, it's really a key artery for downtown LA to get to other arteries. We've seen those protesters move down and block off the southbound route. Police have been hurried there. You see the Mexican flag there being waved, and they're being pushed aside. They tried to block the northbound as well, but they failed. It just goes to show the police really have to defend this entire highway. This is not the first time it happened. It happened Sunday at a different spot. But 4 p.m., rush hour, LA traffic, you got to figure there's a lot of angry people in those vehicles down there. And this has not been a quiet day.
You got to wonder if that really helps build support.
We're hearing a lot about nonviolent protests. Well, if you stand here, you hear explosions. We've heard 3 of them in the past several hours. Fireworks being fired at National Guard. You hear another one right there. Water bottles being thrown at National Guard, and flashbangs used in retaliation by the National Guard. There's also looting. We wondered when or if it was going to start. Well, it certainly has started. Overnight Monday, a lot of looting. The Apple store looted, a sneaker store, a legal marijuana distributor, a jewelry store. His business, he said, was absolutely ruined, an immigrant himself. As they try and clear this highway now, we have seen 3 large...
If you're a legal immigrant, how does that not make you a colonialist? Does that make you a colonist? Once you become a legal immigrant? Maybe this is why there's so much in favor of illegal immigration.
LAPD buses come in, and it looks like they're for prisoners. They have cages on them. They were empty when we saw them come in. So we're looking at arrests about to go up here. There's been about 160 over the weekend. That could be a lot more soon, as briefly now for about 20 minutes these demonstrators have managed to block off once again a key artery in Los Angeles. Laura, back to you.
You got to keep them like 50 yards away from there. You got to keep them 50 yards away, not like at the edge. Not at the edge. 50 yards away. It's not that complicated. Or shutting down the freeway. Give way too much power to the idiots. I gotta tell you, the Free Palestine protests were much bigger than this. Much bigger. I'm kind of surprised, and that's not. Look, they're probably going to grow. They're probably not going to shrink. They're probably going to grow. But the Free Palestine rallies were much bigger than this. This is really kind of comical.
Freeway! Other side, go! Back up! Shame! Shame!
Oh, that twice. LA burns the ground. Trump hadn't sent troops out. That's why the left is so pissed off. Yeah, it's Kevin Sorbo's correct. President Donald Trump declared on Tuesday that LA would be burning to the ground if it had not been ordered. If he had not ordered National Guard troops to assist in recent anti-ICE demonstrations. Trump commented on his personal Truth Social accounts on Tuesday morning, then went on to criticize California Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass for the handling. If I didn't send in the troops to LA the last 3 nights, that once beautiful and great city would be burning to the ground right now, much like 25,000 houses burned to the ground in LA due to an incompetent governor and mayor. Incidentally, the much more difficult, time-consuming, and stringent federal permitting process is virtually complete on these houses, while the easy and simple city and state permits are disastrously bungled up and way behind schedule. They're a total mess and will be for a long time. People want to rebuild their houses. Call your incompetent governor and mayor. The federal permitting is done, Trump wrote. The Department of Homeland Security is releasing information about more than a dozen illegal immigrant individuals suspected of crimes in the United States who were apprehended in LA beginning June 6. DHS released the suspect information after violence broke out in downtown LA over the weekend in response to the ICE raids that resulted in hundreds of illegal aliens being arrested by ICE officers and agents, including many with a criminal history and criminal convictions. The agency shared more information about 19 people apprehended by ICE. America's brave ICE officers are removing the worst of the worst from LA streets, while LA's leaders are working tirelessly against them, DHS said in a statement. It's true. Sheriff Chad Bianco, I think I got him here. Do I have him here? Where are you, Sheriff Chad? Here he is. Well, let's move on to Sheriff Chad Bianco and his statement.
Chief of police from the largest police agency in the country said that they are being overwhelmed. Governor Newsom needs to put his phone down, go sit in his house behind the comfort of his TV screen and a couch and be quiet, because he is doing nothing but fueling this process.
Yep.
He needs to stay out of the way of law enforcement. He knows nothing about this. He has enabled this lawless act that is going on right now. This has been years in the making that he has encouraged. So quite frankly, I don't care what he says. He says everything in a disingenuous manner for his own personal political gain, and we are suffering the consequences.
Damn.
Chief of police from the largest police agency in the country.
Dropping it. You saw I got the political leaders coming up. Lord Buckley said it's not a new thing. Oh, sorry. Allegan says, if California just enacted Florida law that allow you to make protests or a speed bump, this problem would solve itself. They don't want the problem to solve itself. They want the problem there. That's what they're looking for. That's why. The pro-Hamas rallies were smaller. 100 people in Cooper Union looks like more people than 5,000 people in LA. That's a fair point, Durno. That is a fair point. Yeah, the echoing of the walls. That's a good point. The biggest disappointment in my life is being taught as a kid that the big one was imminent and California was going to disappear into the ocean, still waiting for the Jaybird. That's harsh. That's harsh. A lot of innocence there. A lot of innocence. After the riots in CLT, the supermajority in North Carolina passed a law. If you're blocking a highway and you get hit, too bad, so sad, no liability for the driver. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be everywhere. That would have to be a state law. You can't do that on a federal level. Can't do that on a federal level. Mini Tika hitting me. Go long, Joe. Have some Aussie shekels for the fire. God bless you. Thank you so much, Mini Tika. She's the one who shares out Rumble for me more than anyone. Text 47 says, is this large? This doesn't look very large. That's what she said. I'm reading a Rumble rant. I'm reading a Rumble rant. Occupant 42 says, 28th Amendment to the United States Constitution. California shall be stripped of its statehood and broken up into 3 territories of the U.S. to be administered by governors appointed by the president. That would fix the problem. That would probably fix the problem. J.H. Roebuck said, peanut butter and jelly on rye. That's you and Jim. Peanut butter and jelly on rye. One of you sticks to the roof of my mouth. Guess which one of you are? Give me some Jim. P.S. I'm getting you to 15 yellows. Help me, folks. Spuds 1964 says, Joe, if the president of Mexico considers Southern California and the the Southwest USA as Mexico, then how can Newsom Bass have any jurisdiction unless they have sworn allegiance to Mexico? It's a good question. It's deep. It's a deep question. It's a deep question. J. Schwabach says the Free Palestine protests were pre-defunding of USA. Less money means smaller protesters. I'm safe under my porch. Jim, where are you? Jim, where are you, Jim? Where are you, Jim? Let's get to some of those political leaders from California because they got some virtue signaling to do. Speaking of which, I bumped into this guy on the train. I was sitting next to him on the subway. I like to share with you my little social interludes that I have. My little social interludes. And if you're new here, by the way, because you saw me on another channel, because I have recently, when I'm down at the courthouse, I've taken to like basically popping in and talking to people while they are live streaming. This has become a thing that I do now when I'm at the courthouse. I don't know why it is that I cannot get service to live stream and everyone else can. Everyone else, when I'm down at the courthouse, I see one camera after another popping up, people talking to their audiences, and I get like the circle of death. When I tried doing it now, today was the second time I tried doing it. Those of you who popped in, I apologize that you got nothing from me. I tried going live, and I was thinking it was a slow crowd day. There wasn't many people there, so I was like, maybe with fewer people here, I'll be able to get reception. No. I feel as if my 4G hookup with my phone, and I use Verizon. That's supposed to be. I feel like my 4G is basically. It's like I feel like it's like Peter Pettigrew. Like, hey guys, I'm here too. Hey, can I get some connection also? Hey, it's like I feel like I'm like the leader of Liechtenstein at like a world meeting of the EU. It's like, hey, can I get in the picture also? That's what my internet hookup is with my phone. I don't know why it is. I don't know what they have that they're just like muscling past my internet. My internet is normally it's great. But I don't know. I try live streaming. Every other person there, I'm talking about some people there look homeless. They just pop open their live streams and they're just like, so I'm downtown New York over here. Oh, thank you for the tip. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I look like I'm the before and then some before and after actual internet speed. I'm the before guy in the commercial. That's what my phone is. I'm the before guy. No one wants to be the before guy, but I am definitely the before guy. And I don't know how to fix this. Do I need to get like a different phone service? What do I have to do? They're all just like muscling me. I feel almost bad for my phone and the internet hookup. I feel as if like it's really trying, but it's getting like Diddy. It's like it's getting elbowed in the face by someone else's, and then there's like just a right uppercut. It's just things. Why can my internet? Why does it stink? It stinks. It's very frustrating. So in lieu thereof, when I see other people live streaming, I just walk up and I'm like, yo, you want to talk to me about the trial? And it's been working. People have been talking to me. I actually have a few people asking me to pop on their podcasts. And pretty much in that capacity, I feel a little bit like I get around. I'm earning a reputation. I'm sorry. Trust me, their chats have nothing on you guys. It's not, I would never do that to you. I value and treasure our relationship here. I would never do that to you. You know I wouldn't do that to you. How many years do we go back? Right? It's not you, it's me. So yeah, I end up basically popping on wherever I can. There was some guy, Sean G, I was on with today. There was another guy whose name I don't know who I was on with him. I was back on with, I was arguing whether or not there's enough there to get Diddy for the third count with Tiza. It doesn't matter. It does. If I see someone talking into a camera as if they're live, I'll just be like, and more often than not, decently, thank God. They're like, shout out your channel. This one guy keeps like grabbing me for interviews, and I don't know. I might be on TMZ soon. We'll see. There's no other lawyers covering this. I'm like, would you want a lawyer's opinion? Because I'm an attorney. I practiced in this courthouse before. You want me to just weigh in with some thoughts for you? And that usually does it. So I have been like kind of whoring. Interstate highways fall into federal and state jurisdictions, so making a law about blocking said highway could probably be a federal law. Ooh, I like your thinking. This man's a thinker. A lot of people think that I just keep him around because of, the pretty exterior that Allegan News offers. No. He's a thinker. It's true. It's good. I agree with you. Federal highways, you could pass a law to that effect. Trump could probably even pass an EO. He could probably pass an EO. You got to work that one up the chain. Pass an EO. The problem with Trump doing it is you can envision already that someone's going to get themselves seriously maimed or worse in protest, and they're all going to be like, "This Trump killed that kid." That's what's going to happen if he does it by ear. That's going to happen. Trump killed that kid. That's what's going to happen. So perhaps better Congress does it. Time to break out the scoops from Soylent Greed for crowd control. They're killing people. Where we at in our poll thing here? 10 out of 15 over here. 10 out of 15. Very close. Very close. Very, very close. I think we're going to be good. I think we're going to make it. Only an hour 18 in. Moving on, because I got a lot more of these kids. I got a lot more of these links to share with you here, courtesy of Jim Tells You. All right. This is Nancy Pelosi. We got two things in Nancy Pelosi. This is Nancy Pelosi weighing in.
And I say this as a former party chair, when there is a large gathering of people, the anarchists see it as
She really needs Polident already. She's got so much money. Don't they have a way of just sort of like sticking it in there? Because it's like she's continually trying to like keep her teeth from flying out of her face.
An opportunity, and they move in. So always have to be careful whether you see a burned car or broken window or whatever it is. It may be the exuberance of the moment, but it may be the anarchist setting in. I heard one of the former police chiefs of Los Angeles speak about this on Sunday. I
don't know what the hell she's even trying to say. She sounds so drunk. It may be the exuberance of the moment or the anarchist setting in. What are you remembering? What are we remembering? What does that even mean? What does that mean? What? Okay. you're a member of ICE, you're a member of Homeland Security, and you want to take Nancy's words to heart. How would that manifest here?
Say this as a former party chair. When there is a gathering, a large gathering of...
Okay, so I'm now envisioning. I'm a member of ICE, and I want to take Nancy's advice because she's obviously a very shrewd woman, and she has a good strategy for how to deal with this.
People, the anarchists see it as an opportunity, and they move in. So always have to be careful whether you see a burned car, a broken window, or whatever it is. It may be the exuberance of the moment, but...
What is the exuberance of the moment?
But it may be the anarchist setting in.
And therefore what? I should torch him?
Heard one of the former police chiefs of Los Angeles speak about this on Sunday.
What the hell does that even mean? What are people supposed to do with that? Here's Speaker Pelosi. She's giving us her thoughts. Let's get her thoughts in full, as shared with us via C-SPAN, via Jim Tells You through. This is Jim Tells You sending us from C-SPAN.
Thank you, Congressman Gomez, for putting this letter together and bringing us together this morning. I listened in traffic. Mind you, for what they had planned for the weekend, they had blocked off a whole lane of traffic. So it took what takes 8 minutes, took a half an hour to get here. Happy birthday to you, too. But in any event, thank you, and I could...
Was it her birthday? Is that what she's getting at? Is that what she's getting at? That it's her birthday? I don't even understand that. Nancy Pelosi's birthday. Is that the point? That she's March 26th. I don't know what the hell she's talking about. This is she sounds more and more like the 7 a.m. gin and tonic woman.
Could hear by my staff's phone what others have said, and I associate myself with their remarks. Here's the thing. The president has said he can't send in the guard without the governor's agreement, permission. The president has said, I don't know if I have to obey the Constitution.
No, he didn't say that. He's never said that.
I hope the president would read Article 10 of the Constitution, and I urge all of you to do that as well, because Section 120
yeah.
46 of Article 10 says that the National Guard cannot be called up by the president.
It's not Article 10. No.
Without the consent of the governor. So that is the basis under which he's proceeding.
No, it's 10 USC. What?
That is the basis on which the president, the governor of California
Article 10?
is suing. Really, I think it's really important for people to know how this came to be. Raids that they were holding, situations where if your case is not settled.
I can't post it in locals because I don't even know where I am. I felt guilty about that. Because I was like, I don't know how to do this because I literally don't know who I'm talking to, what channel I'm on. I don't know who these people. For all I know, seriously, I could have been on some home knitting channel where the person's like, hey, I happen to be at the Diddy trial, so let me tell you what's going on there. I have no idea. I don't know their names. The only reason I know Sean G was one channel that I popped on is because someone commented, I'm here from Sean G's channel. But there are two guys I spoke to today, either one of whom can be Sean G. I'm really not sure. So I don't know. So I certainly don't have links. Links? I don't know if I'm on Instagram. I don't know if I'm Facebook. I don't know if I'm on YouTube. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know if I'm an X. I could be any of these, but I could be It could be on BitChute. I don't know where it is. I'm streaming too. I just pop in there and have a conversation with whoever's doing the streaming. Alcohol is a strong solvent, apparently.
You know, if you're still out there and haven't had a resolution of your status.
That's a nice dated reference.
You have to, by law, report in on a regular basis. You are obeying the law. And now they are deporting people for obeying the law.
No, that's not what's happening. They're not obeying the law if they come here illegally. There's a reason why they're called illegal. It's sort of built into the term, illegal alien. See, it's built into the term. They're not obeying the law. If they come here and they follow every law, they're here illegally, they're illegal. See, that's how it works.
So as others,
and you can put your finger up and try to make it seem as if your point has more validity that way. But they're not obeying the law. See, it's very simple. They're just not obeying the law because they're not supposed to be here. Hence, being here is against the law. It's against the law.
said it's a distraction. It's really stupid because we understand that we are a nation of immigrants. We want people.
Legal immigrants. You see, did your forebears come here illegally? She actually strikes me as someone whose forebears are colonists. I'd be surprised if somewhere in her bloodline there isn't that she's not a daughter of the American Revolution eligible. I'd be very surprised because she seems like the whitest of whitey ever. She seems like the Miss whiteness of Whiteyville. So yeah. And my forebears came here legally. That's the difference. Likely yours did too. That's the difference.
To have a facilitation of their status. We do not want any.
No, not a facilitation of their status, because then you're just encouraging more people to come here illegally. There should be actually a slowdown of their status. There should be a penalty for coming here illegally, because if you penalize people for coming here illegally, then you're discouraging the rest of the world from trying to come here illegally. So no, that should be expedited because they're here. That's the most backward perspective in the world. This is why the Democrats never have healthy policies, because they basically pretend that the law is not going to have an impact on future behavior. So what good is you passing a law? You're a terrible person to ever be passing any laws. She really looks like she's aging like rapidly. Her hair looks like it's 5 years older than when we started this conference.
Violent protest, and that would be addressed for those who are acting violently. I do want to say two more things. One,
you've said nothing yet, nothing of substance. But tell us two more things.
Is when, and I say this as a former party chair, when there is a large gathering of people, the anarchists see it as an opportunity and they move in. So always have to be careful whether you see a burned car or broken window or whatever it is. It may be the exuberance of the moment, but it may be the anarchist setting in. I heard one of the former police chiefs of Los Angeles speak about this on Sunday.
Yeah, this is the point that she said before. The third time I hear it, I can tell you that now I really have no idea what she's trying to say.
Secondly,
but let's move on to point two. Maybe I'm sure point two is a lot sharper.
Secondly, and you know this to be true, and I haven't seen it really reflected so much in the press. In a bipartisan way, on January 6th, with violence against the Constitution, against the Congress, and against the United States Capitol, we beg the President of the United States to send in the National Guard.
Oh, did you now? Oh, did you now? We begged him to send in the National Guard. Oh, did you now? Now you are a liar. Oh.
He would not do it.
You're a liar. You kept the National Guard out. You stink. You're you stinking. You drunk, stinking, lunatic, lying, gaslighting, full of hot air and garbage woman.
Not only would he not do it, when law enforcement people were being harmed, some later died.
Zero. More lies, more lies, more lies.
He would not send it in when an instigation that an insurrection that he incited was
not an insurrection, nor did he incite it. That's why he was never even charged with incitement.
Causing damage to those assigned to protect the Capitol and the Constitution that day, to accept the result.
You're a disgrace. You're a disgrace to humanity. This is everything wrong. This is everything wrong with DC right here. Right here. Right here. Everything wrong. There's this lie. Complete lie.
Result of the Electoral College. That day, he didn't do it.
Wrong.
He forgave those people.
Yep. He didn't forgive. He actually pardoned them. So
now his people want to raise money for them, and yet, in a contra-constitutional way, he has sent the National Guard.
Wrong.
Into
your nephew lost his TRO today. Didn't get his TRO. Now, he may still get a preliminary injunction, but he lost his TRO today. So wrong. In California, a California judge said, you lose on the TRO.
California. Something is very wrong with this picture.
Something's very wrong with how many lies you're able to spew.
Inconsistent in his actions.
You're the inconsistent one.
Contrary to his own statement that he couldn't, of a year ago, that he couldn't send anyone in without the governor's consent.
So now you're talking about how he did offer it.
Any place. And
there he was talking about the Capitol, which was under your leadership.
Violation
your decision.
Of the Constitution. Thank you again.
You're a complete and utter disgrace. You're a complete and utter disgrace. It's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. Chief Stephen Sund says, fact. I made 11 urgent calls requesting National Guard support on January 6th, starting at 12:58 p.m. Approval was withheld for 71 minutes by the House Sergeant at Arms, who reported directly to Speaker Pelosi. She caused critical delays and now is shifting blame to real Donald Trump for failures she helped create. The record is clear indeed.
Thank you, Congressman Gomez.
A complete disgrace. So now they're launching mortar rounds. Everything's under control. Nothing to see here, according to Gavin Newsom. Everything's under control. LA is now Gaza. LA has become Gaza. Everything is completely under control. Maybe this is why the Free Palestine people are too busy with anti-ICE rallies. Because LA has turned into Gaza. Firing mortar rounds. They should blow these people away. They should literally just have snipers. Anyone who goes near it, that something firing off mortars, they don't need to be Korean. That's attempted murder on a mass scale. Nancy does not use denture cream because she needs to remove teeth quickly to whip. She got knee pads from Kamala on her way out. That's not. She's not whipping no votes these days. Not whipping no votes for the next year and a half. The highway system has 3 levels of priority. First, military. Second, goods like semis, trucks. Third, residents. Sure, there's some kind of felony for blocking. Yeah, I would think so. Carlos! What is she saying? It's like listening to crackhead homeless who are plaguing California. She's really losing her ability to express herself. She used to be a very effective speaker. She used to be. She's really lost her ability. You can't even understand what she's trying to say half the time. She made like 5 points there. The only point that made any sense at all was the 5th one, and that was just complete lies. So she's really she's going the Biden way soon. I love now states have rights, 10th Amendment. All of a sudden, yeah. It's Trump's birthday. Oh, sarcasm. Oh, let's see. Flag Day, the 14th. Birthday of the Army. The day of the parade. The parade route streets are already closed in D.C. Oh, that's why she's griping. That's why she's grousing. That's why she's all bitter. That explains. By the way, both Pelosi and Bowser ignored all requests for more security on January 6th in D.C., hoping Trump would supersede them and attempt to entrap him and have them all mainstream media scream coup. Yep. She will soon be Feinstein wheeled off for staff to vote for her. Yeah. Joe, Section 1229A, no person shall occupy space within a state express highway or interstate highway, including the entrance or exit ramps, unless directed to do so by a police officer. Really? Section 1229A of what? That's interesting. Let me see. I'm going to try and find this. No person shall occupy a space. I'm not going to make you pay for it. Let me see if I can find this here. Boom. That's 1229A of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law. What? I think it's New York. That's all right. There's probably something similar federal. If we look hard enough, we may find it. Side note, Wikipedia claims January 6th protest was an attempted self-coup, while claiming that this mass domestic terrorist attack in California is peaceful. Very peaceful. Thank you so much, John Mosley. God bless you. Nancy's father, Thomas D'Alessandro Jr., was the child of Italian immigrants. He was mayor of Baltimore. Many say corrupt drug lord. Interesting. U.S. House rep for Maryland. Interesting. She comes from some vile folks. So she's basically, you're saying Italian? That's what you're trying to say? Child of Italian immigrants? J6 was exuberance of the moment. Yeah, seriously. Now you got the yellow. Why didn't they give you yellow for this one? This one got yellow, and this one got green. That's so weird. In San Francisco, he lost, which amazed me. Yeah, it is surprising. But I think that's how they count the ballots. I still need Joe to lull me to sleep, so he has to go for an extra hour now. Still need to look at Cory Booker video, post advice for cheap labor. It's a video. Well, I found it on X. I'll try to make it part of my. Let me do a search. Booker. This is what I got when I searched for Booker. Immigrants are essential to the backbone of our economy. Mass deportation, cruel policies against hardworking families don't make us safer or strong. They weaken us.
Overrepresented in jobs that you do not want. Things that have
are going to help out real Americans, right?
Then I'm going to stop you right there. First off, if watching families being ripped apart does not appeal to your humanity, let me try and appeal to you financially.
Of course, it doesn't appeal to humanity because they don't have to be ripped apart. They can go back to El Salvador or whatever country they came from. They don't have to be ripped apart. Why would they be ripped apart? Why would that be ripped? Why would they be ripped apart? If my kids were being deported somewhere, I would go with them. So they're ripped apart. That just means something wrong. Something wrong with the family.
Because these mass ICE deportations are bad for the economy.
Oh, are they?
So while undocumented immigrants actually make up a really small portion of the overall workforce, they are overrepresented in jobs that you do not want.
Oh, so we need them. We need them to be our slaves.
Things that have little benefits, long hours, backbreaking work with no pay. For example, about 42% of the agricultural workforce, 23% of the construction workforce are undocumented. And let's be real, these are self-reported numbers, so those are probably light. But the short of it all is that the food that you eat and the home that you live in was probably brought to you by someone who is an immigrant.
So we need to have them as slaves. That's what we need to have them as. We should bring in the illegals because they're a good slave force. This is classic elitist. Stupid, like they don't have no clue how racist they sound. They have no idea how racist they sound. Classic elitist snob who's talking down, talking in this patronizing tone.
Made in America for Americans tagline, yeah, it's actually made by immigrants. Not only are these mass ICE deportations going to result in a tax revenue loss of over $1 trillion every single year, get ready to wait longer at your favorite neighborhood restaurant. You're going.
So what? So what? That's got nothing to. It's like no, I have to move. I have to have. I need my little brown person busting my tables. Chop chop, chop chop. You evil biatch. You sick twisted woman. This is the woman who's supposed to be talking down. You're talking down to people. You are slime. There's something wrong with you. You're talking down to people that as if you're so educated. Oh, how educated are you? You're devoid of any morals. You start this off by talking about if that doesn't appeal to your heart because I'm such a good person. But yeah, I if that doesn't break your heart, let me explain to you how we need to use them for their slave labor that white folk don't want to do. Let me explain to you why we need them here, because otherwise otherwise the price of food is going to go up. Okay, it probably will. So what? You're a sick person. So we should reinstitute slavery. It'd be even cheaper. It's so dumb. Meanwhile, screaming that we need to raise minimum wage so that they'll actually be paid more. This is the most backward, retarded. You're insane. You're an insane, evil human being. And Cory Booker tweeting out this insane, evil human being only lets you know the tyranny I live under. That I'm in the state that reelects this jackass. Insane.
Going to see a shortage in Uber and Lyft drivers, delivery orders.
Oh, you see, I need to get bussed around the city here. Sick person.
People, and you are going to see prices for meat, seafood, dairy, and produce all go up at your
Oh my gosh.
Grocery store. If you are not deeply disturbed watching unidentifiable masked officers throw hardworking people into unmarked vans.
See, I'm gonna show you. It's like I'm gonna pretend that I'm actually far more moral than you, while then going into point 2 which shows how utterly devoid of any morals whatsoever I actually am.
I plead with you to assess why that might be. And ultimately, if you still can't come up with a reason to care, I ask you to be selfish and know that
you're utterly selfish. You are utterly selfish. Whatever hypocrisy you think you're pointing at others, you are displaying in this ostentatious, disgusting, arrogant display of incompetence and heartlessness.
what is bad for these people you don't seem to care about is also bad for you.
No, you're a sick woman. You're a sick, sick woman, and you're sitting there pointing your finger as if you know best. You are woe unto anyone who has the misfortune of having this woman as her boss. Oh my God. What a sick, twisted. This is the type of psychology you can only develop. You cannot learn this type of thinking unless you get indoctrinated by some stupid college. This is the same pathetic. That's why it's 12,000 comments and
Hey,
2.2
Viv, these mass
likes.
deportations are going to help
That's
out
why
real Americans, right?
Then I'm going to stop you right there.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is the proper ratio. There you go. This is the ratio this deserves. Sickness. See, Allegan knows this is why he's invaluable to the chat. He knows what's going to rile me up. He knows what's going to rile me up. Oh my God, what a sick human being. You are a disgusting, awful, terrible person. You're a terrible person. Did we get her name anywhere? Wow. Worst human of the day. Cory Booker posted this video thinking advocating for cheap labor is a winning idea. Yeah, California vehicle code 21956. Someone, yeah, you see, now you're learning. Now you're learning. There you go. You got to go to the right state. Good job, Spuds. Good job. All right. Let's hear from the Marxist mayor, Karen Bass.
Continue expressing your right, your anger, your outrage, but to do it peacefully.
I'm spent.
And I just have to say that all of you were there Friday. Everybody knows what happened Friday.
Yeah, lunacy. That's what happened under your watch.
Several workplaces were targeted and raids took place.
Okay.
Now, in the beginning, the administration said they were just looking for dangerous felons.
Why should it be just dangerous felons? They're illegal aliens. There are millions of people who need to be removed.
Violent people.
No, why that? Why? Why would that just be? It should be abuelos. It should be abuelos. I want to see a line of abuelos marched out. It should be men, women, and children. You want to know who should be removed? The same people who came in. It's really not, and that had men, women, and children.
It's hard to say that that's what they found at a workplace or in a Home Depot park.
Really? That sounds like it's exactly what they would find. Why? Why would you assume it's not?
This happens, it terrifies people. It sends a sense of fear and chaos in our city. And you well remember a few years ago in the last administration that kids were afraid to go to school. Continue.
Oh my gosh. What about the children? What about the children? What about the children? Greg Nichols says, Joe, we need to create jobs for Asians in the new economy. Let's bring back rickshaws. Look out, Uber. Yeah, we'll bring back rickshaws. Look, you know how much a rickshaw costs if you don't have some little Asian guy pulling it? Learn some effing manners, Joe. At least you can nudge someone or ask a security guard at the courthouse who's who. What? I need to know who I'm talking? Don't you think that would be rude? Imagine, okay, I don't think you're appreciating the situation. The security guard doesn't know these people are. There's no security guard. We're standing outside. So maybe you're not appreciating the situation, okay? We're standing outside of a courthouse. People milling about. Most people walking back and forth. I'm standing in one spot there, and I put my thing on, and I stand on the steps so I can be like a little lower down and have it be at eye height, and I make my report. Then I finish my report, and I start trying to upload it. Today I was trying to live stream, and that from that spot, that didn't work. But the point is, so now around me, let's say 30, 20 yards away, we try to stay, sufficient distance away that you're not going to hear them in the background. 20 yards away from me, there'll be someone who's got a tripod and the camera's set up there, and they're talking to their tripod. And they're just saying, so today we saw Jane come out, and she said that she was there on March 18th, 2024, when the thing broke down. And I'll just be like drifting toward them as I'm like passing by. So I don't know this person's name. I don't know if they're talking to 3 people or 3,000 people. It really could be either. And I don't know so I don't know that. So for me to go over and say, hey, I don't know your name, but I'm just going to walk onto your live stream, that'd be a little weird. So at the end, I'll be like, what's your name again? I'll do like that. Rosalind says, Joe, this is what my first rant was about. What the earlier rant you gave? Also, we need to support Omar by revoking citizenship, relying on paperwork. This is the rant that Uzelian was talking about earlier. Cover this real quick. That's not my volume. That's his. Oh, no. I honestly know his pain. Democracy at crossroads. If this isn't a sign of competence and abject failure, California Governor Gavin Newsom gave an address to the state of LA deportation riots with no sound, resulting in the staff cutting the feed. That's pretty funny. See, I'm a one-man show. He's not. That's the difference. But I know his pain. I know his pain. Jay Schwabach says Newsom is in panic mode. California is broken. No money. July, there's a new 65-cent a gallon gas tax goes into effect. Uh-oh. Third of LA is illegal. Fact, if Trump chases them out, California's economy collapses. Jim do agree. Spud said it's already illegal to be pedestrian on an interstate-controlled access highway. TX47 says, if it's an interstate highway, those are the National Defense Platform. Blockage of those has been legislated since 1952. There you go. Zan says, Joe, would fall under the commerce, and you can charge them with blocking and state commerce. Also, I think you missed my last rant. What did I miss? Did I miss your last rant? Maybe I did. I apologize for that. Joe, I know you remember this. We need to make up all PDs, all police departments like Seattle Police Department was in 1999 during the WTO riots. They FO. I don't remember what that was. I don't remember what they did there. I did miss that. I apologize. The rant that Uzelian had said earlier was he can't even have audio when he's trying to intimidate the Fed. So that was the video that came back and brought to us. Thank you so much. It was close to a rant. It was close. Her account is your rich BFF. Is it really? Is it really? Are you just making? You're making that up. I don't know if that's not. That would be on Instagram. That's really her. It really is her. $11 followers. Wow. What a bitch. I'm sorry. I don't really like using language like that. Wow. Joe, take notes so locals know when you boom your live stream so we can see updates. Fair enough. Touche. Touche indeed. Let's see what else Jim has for us. What do you got for me, Jim? That's not it. Did I close out the whole thing? There it is. Okay. We should probably talk about. You guys tell me which one should I go for first. What we got here is, yeah, you can see my inbox. I don't open most of my stuff. So, LA rioters want to be feared. That's a thread. Newark, New Jersey federal grand jury unseals 3-count indictment against congressmen who attacked agents at ICE. I really think that's not that big a story. Driver was handing out those bionic masks works for Teamsters Union. He seems to have a lot on this. We covered the rioters blocking freeways and the Dems. Should definitely get to Newsom's lawsuit against Trump. I'm going to cover that. This is the hysterical Kamala Harris poster. I thought this was funny. Breaking: new campaign concept art has leaked for Kamala Harris' rumored 2028 presidential run. The post artwork symbolizes a diverse and united coalition she's hoping to build. I don't know. I don't know. Do with that what you will. No, it's not real. It's not real. No, it's not real. It's not real. It was funny, but not real. All right, so I think I want to go into the the Newsom lawsuit against Trump. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Let me close out stuff here. And close out my excess links and open up the new links. So this was yesterday. Breaking, Newsom asked judge to act the next 23 minutes to stop Trump's National Guard deployment from joining immigration raids in L.A. California. Sorry, this was yesterday. This was it's 12:38 here. California asked judge to immediately block military from joining ICE raids. The restraining order request is focused on a growing expectation amongst California officials that troops will soon be sent on arrest missions. Governor Gavin Newsom is asking a federal judge for a restraining order that blocks Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth from ordering National Guard troops and Marines to support immigration raids in Los Angeles. They must be stopped immediately. Shortly before 2 p.m., Breyer indicated he would not act on the state's timeline. Instead, he gave the Trump administration 24 hours it had sought to respond, and he set a hearing of the matter on Thursday afternoon. The state urgent plea came as Newsom and other California officials continued to assail Trump's order to federalize 4,000 members of the state's National Guard for a mission to protect federal immigration facilities and personnel amid street protests. The restraining order request, however, is focused explicitly on a growing expectation amongst California officials that those troops will soon be sent on a arrest mission alongside agents from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, raising the likelihood of direct confrontation with LA residents. Such support activities would include holding a secure perimeter in communities around areas where immigration enforcement activities would take place and securing routes over public streets where immigration enforcement officers would travel, said Paul Eck, a state attorney who works with California's National Guard. Oh, we finally got a sworn statement. Oh, this is what I was critiquing him for. I was like, where the heck is your sworn statement? Which I said is called a declaration. This was my critique of their original motion. I was like, how do you have no sworn statement from anybody with knowledge of the situation? It's like you're not supporting anything here. So they finally put in a sworn statement, all of 11 pages. Declaration of Paul S. Eck, the Deputy General Counsel in the California Military Department. Deputy General Counsel, so he's a lawyer for the California Military Department. I provide direct legal support to executive staff. I began my service as Sergeant at Arms. No one cares. Okay, I don't care about your CV here. I'm aware I have reviewed the memorandum issued by President Trump on June 7, calling to federal service members and units of the National Guard. So these are the facts that they're saying support the relief that they're seeking. I'm also aware, and I reviewed the June 7, 2025 memo from Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth to the Adjutant General of California ordering 2,000 California National Guard members into federal service. And that's issuing the order. I'm aware that all 2,000 National Guard members deployed as a result of the June 7th order are members of the 79th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, which include a large number of Guard members who serve in Task Force Rattlesnake, the state's specialized fire combat unit. These service members have specialized training in wildland fire mitigation, prevention, and direct fire suppression, and would be highly difficult for the state to replace. You have wildfires going on? Are there wildfires going on? The 79th Infantry Brigade also contains counter-drug task force members that specialize in providing support to stop the trafficking of fentanyl at the U.S.-Mexico border. Were they actively doing that? As further described below, these deployments will impair the California National Guard's ability to perform critical functions for the state of California, including providing urgent responses to natural disasters and wildfires. How? Are there wildfires going on? Are they still raging for the last 3 months? What are you talking about? I reviewed the June 9, 2025 memo. We have an emergency here and now. Like, what the hell? This is so stupid. I agree with Eyes of a Lady. He simply refuses to take care of his own state. I've also reviewed a post by Secretary Hegseth posted at 3:24 Pacific time, stating that approximately 700 active duty U.S. Marines in Camp Pendleton are being deployed. Well, at least that we're not taking them from your precious California Guard. Consistent with those public statements by Secretary Hegseth, I became aware that CMD was informed of DOD's plan to issue change orders to DOD June 7th order and DOD June 9th order. CMD was informed that these change orders would advise that beginning June 10th, mobilized federalized California National Guard units would be providing support for counter-immigration operations across LA and communities during immigration enforcement operations, and not only at federal buildings. CMD was informed because they're engaging in federal service, so that makes sense. CMD was informed that such support activities would include holding a secure perimeter in communities around areas where immigration enforcement activities would take place, and securing routes over public streets where immigration enforcement would travel. That seems to make sense. That seems to be this logical policy is against what California's best interests. California Army National Guard and California Air National Guard are part of the organized militia of the state and are federally recognized units and organizations of the reserve components of the United States military. Boom, that's it. And you don't need to say any more. Federally recognized units and organizations are the reserve components of the United States military. There you go. There, you don't need to say any more. Federally recognized units. Yeah, that's right. Federally recognized, as in under Trump's supervision. Soldiers and airmen in the California National Guard serve important functions for California under the authority of the governor of California. You already made the key admission here. Federally recognized units and organizations, not state. That's the end of the analysis right there. Federally funded. California National Guard purpose is to organize, train, equip, deploy, and employ California's airmen, soldiers, and sailors to deliver integrated staff, enhance federal readiness, civil support, and historical contribution capabilities to the California Military Department, interagency partners, and the governor. California National Guard is part of the CMD, a state agency that includes the California State Guard, which cannot be federalized and remains at the command and control of the governor. In what way are they part of the CMD and also federal? CMD works under the executive authority of the governor of California and performs numerous functions to effectively operate the California National Guard, including planning and organizing deployments and trainings. There are 3 duty status categories for the National Guard: state active duty, Title 10, or Title 32 status. In general, these statuses, Stat I, Statodes. These statuses determine who funds an operation and whether they're under the command and control of the governor or the president in respective capacities as commander-in-chief. So they can serve in either capacity, either state or federal, and you weren't using them. In state active duty, California National Guard is fully paid for by California budget, and federal funds are not obligated for any personnel units. Service members in state active duty serve under the command and control of the governor of California. California National Guard members may serve in Title 32 status. In this hybrid status, they are under the command and control of the governor, but the mission is paid for by federal funds. Federal government may request the governor provide California National Guard assistance under Title 32 for federal missions. As an example, California National Guard is Title 32 status when it's deployed at the southern border to provide operational support to federal law enforcement. I know you're on trial, but a crossover stream between you and Branca and the LA National Guard case could help you gain subs. Diddy is just rubbernecking next to a CD and scene. I'll tell you right now, if this thing is televised, it's Thursday. It's Thursday, I think, at like 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern time. I got to check exactly what time. If this thing is televised, I will skip out of the afternoon session of the Diddy trial to live stream oral arguments on this. I'm definitely going to do that. I appreciate the suggestion. I agree with you. The National Guard may be called into federal service under Title 10 of the U.S. Code. When members of the California National Guard are called to federal service under Title 10, that's how they were here. It's Title 10. They become components of the Army and Federal National Guard. In Title 10 status, National Guard is paid for by the federal government under the command and control of the president. We used 10-12-406. That's what they used. Not Article 10, the way Nancy Pelosi said, because she's drunk or has Biden brain. There are approximately 18,000 members of the California National Guard. Most of the California National Guard members serve as reserve forces, meaning that their role in California National Guard is part-time and generally employed in civilian roles separate from their work as service members. Currently, approximately 12,000 available members of the California National Guard. Approximately 717 California National Guard service members who work full-time. 1,109 Army National Guard. Okay. So you seem knowledgeable as to the numbers we're dealing with. As the largest National Guard in the country, California National Guard provides mission-ready forces for the state and nation, supporting missions all over the world. Each service member plays a critical role, and many have years of specialized training. Pulling those members away from these assignments may imperil the state's ability to protect its residents. Why would you pull those members? We don't need from the 717 service members. You can get from the other 10,000 people. As Commander-in-Chief of the state militia, the governor of California calls members of the California National Guard into active duty to serve the needs of California. What about the federal needs? California National Guard is vital for various state functions. You said this already. California National Guard acts to protect people and property in many ways. The state relies on the National Guard to be ready to intervene in emergent situations to help protect Californians. Yeah, well, this is a situation that's already emerged. On average, in the years 2020 through 2025, 3,937 service members were activated for emergency state active duty each year. You have 18,000. He took 4 of them. So now you have 12,000 in reserve. This doesn't sound like you're imperiled. Nothing here sounds like you're remotely imperiled. You just said you got 18,000 or 12,000. On a normal year, on average, it was under 4,000. And you have 18,000. So he's taking another 4,000. So if you have 18,000, so he takes 4,000, you still have 10,000 for what you normally need 4,000. And that's during the course of the entire year. If you think this is bolstering the point as far as the urgency and how he's imperiling California, this is the sworn statement of the guy who is the attorney for Gavin Newsom. This sworn statement to me is basically saying we don't really need it. We're just being whiny bitches. CNA has identified and committed 4,600 service members to achieve state-specific missions, which is 38% of available strength. The needs of the state are variable depending on emergent circumstances. In 2020, we had 12,000 service members deployed for 488,000 duty days, representing nearly 3 times more than the assigned strength for the states. Okay. These numbers exclude specialized task forces such as Operation Rattlesnake and state counter-drug teams. Presently, only 6.15% of the assigned strength CMD is not subject to Title 10 activation. Meaning if there's a large federal activation, the state will fall far short of the anticipated annual state requirements. Oh, it is federal court. It's not going to be streamed. It may be an audio feed, but it probably won't be streamed if it's federal court. It's a good point. January 2025 LA fires are a recent example of one of the state missions. Yeah, okay, so if you have a fire that's breaking out, you still have like 5,000 people over. January 7th, devastating wildfire broke out in LA because we suck and don't know how to maintain water supplies. Governor Newsom immediately proclaimed a state of emergency and deployed the California National Guard to manage emergency. And we still only use 2,500 service members. We still only use 2,500 of the 18,000 we have. California National Guard support included firefighting brigades, aerial firefighters who provide critical fire suppression. Again, you only needed 2,500 of them. You got 18,000. I think he's being honest. I think everything he said here is honest. And in all honesty, Trump is not having any impact on the California National Guard by deploying 25% of them. California National Guard also operates Joint Task Force Rattlesnake. Okay, fine. Over the past 18 months, Task Force Rattlesnake responded to at least 738 wildland firefighters responses covering 10,000 acres of land. 308 personnel in total. He's not affecting anything here. This is like all you're telling us is you use your California National Guard sometimes, and that you have a ton of reserves, plenty to give to Trump. Your soldiers and 100 air guardsmen who are in military police companies. Maybe you have some who are specialized. California National Guard also provides critical cybersecurity support for the states. Impact of federalization. As we count above, the DoD June 7th ordered federalized 2,000 members of the 79th Infantry Brigade Combat Team. Large number of Guard members who serve in CMD's Task Force Rattlesnake and Counter-Drug Task Force. This deployment is pulling California National Guard members away from their critical drug interdiction work. Will undermine the state's critical investment for this area. So I guess here they're trying to make some sort of point. Finally, got to page 10 before they made a point that would help Newsom. This deployment is also pulling away highly trained fire mitigation, prevention, and direct fire suppression. Most critically, diverting members of the National Guard impairs the government's ability to respond to emergencies. That's what he was saying. But clearly it's not. Clearly it's not. So you want to tell me it's affecting the Task Force Rattlesnake and Counter-Drug Force Task Force? Okay. But it's clearly not. Why do you have 18,000? I'm not complaining you have 18,000, but it seems like you got plenty in the bank there. When I get Joe under 100K, maybe we can do a pickle jar finding competition to boost you back over 100K. I'll select Lady Lawgic to be my team. I know you're on trial, but across the way, we got this. And no, it can be streamed. This court does stream it, but either party can say no. This is a district that was testing streaming cases. Oh. Yeah, I think I'm going to come back for this then. I think I'm going to come back for this. Plaintiff Gavin Newsom in the state of California. This was the order setting briefing, schedule, and hearing date. Plaintiff Gavin Newsom in the state of California filed an ex parte motion for a TRO at 11 a.m. on June 10th. Defendants Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, and Department of Defense requested 24 hours from the time of that the plaintiffs filed a motion for a temporary restraining order to file a response brief. Defendant's request is granted. Opposition shall be due by 11 a.m. on Wednesday, June 11th. Plaintiffs may file a response to the opposition by 9 a.m. on Thursday. The court will hold a hearing on plaintiff's motion to open court at 1:30 p.m. on Thursday. Any party wishing to appear by Zoom may do so. Don't trust the last name of Breyer, but Because we had a Supreme Court justice by that name who was no friend of Trump's, that's for sure. They also have a bunch of prisoners they used to fight for wildfires. Yeah, and they don't pay them anything. They pay them 12 cents an hour because in California they turn them into slaves. At least if Kamala's running them. You know, Kamala loves her some slaves. Loves her some slaves. I need 60 seconds. Don't worry, I'll make it up to you. Okay, so we need to consider something here. All right. We need to consider something really quickly, and that is this. If we look at 10 U.S.C. 12406, trying to just assess here Trump's rights versus Gavin Newsom's powers. Here's the text of the statute. Whenever the United States, let's assume that Trump can satisfy, at least, if not on multiple of these, this one for sure. President unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. And that's certainly, I think Gavin Newsom will, I think he'll struggle on there. If you have a fair objective analysis, he'll struggle on any of these, whether, I guess invaded, that's Trump has announced that there's been an invasion, but let's say that the court doesn't buy that. He says, he could say it's a rebellion or danger rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States. There certainly seems like when they're firing mortars off that there's a rebellion here. But let's assume that we don't want to take those factors into account because that happens after he deputized the California National Guard. So let's say the court ignores that. At the very least, I don't see how the court can ignore this. The president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. So he has the right in this scenario to call into federal service members and units of the National Guard of any state in such numbers as he considers necessary to repel the invasion, suppress rebellion, or execute those laws. So over here, he says, I can't execute my immigration policy because my ICE agents are being attacked. So I am now trying to execute the laws of the United States. And that's why I'm deputizing them. So now you have this follow-up line, which is what the state's trying to hang their hat on. Orders for these purposes shall be issued through the governors of the states. Well, let's say the governor says, F you, I hate you, I'm not going to do it. Does he have that authority? It's ridiculous to assume for a moment even that he would have such authority. It's ridiculous. Because federal law has primacy over state law. So to me, this is a directive where it says orders shall be issued to the governors of the states. It's a directive as to how to effectuate this with efficiency, with better efficacy, because they're normally under the domain of the governor. But to say that, I don't think it makes sense to read this as saying, well, a governor has a right to turn this down. Under what authority would they have that right? That makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. So it's kind of a retarded position to take, because otherwise, what's the point of having it? If it's purely at the discretion of the governor, then how is this helping the president? They just make nice to the governor, say, oh, can I please have your National Guard? Can I please have it? Please, please. Oh, you're still saying no? Damn it. That stinks. I guess I'm not going to carry out the laws of the United States. Stupid. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. So the only logical way to interpret this part of the statute is that for efficacy-based reasons, we have him go through the governor. Well, what if the governor is being a jerk? What if the governor has put too much hair gel in and can't think straight? Obviously, this would not supersede the will of the president of the United States. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, well, I guess these laws won't be executed because the governor doesn't want. That's ridiculous. That makes no sense. So I think here that logic dictates that Gavin Newsom is on losing terrain here. And I think that this is performative, what he's doing. But it does not make sense to claim that federal law has primacy, but a state governor can thwart federal law. That's wholly illogical. So I anticipate that Trump will be successful here. And even if he didn't properly go through it, I'm sure that his lawyers are going to put through here that going through his deputy there is qualifying for issue through the governors. And perhaps the judge will say in the future, you need to at least give notice, give him a chance to respond. If I was sitting as a judge, I would say in the future, you're supposed to go make a request of him. And then if he says no, then you can go over his head and you can circumvent him. And the person beneath him would be directed to carry out the order. You could just take him. But it's more of a politeness type of thing, because otherwise there's no purpose served here in this statute. So I think Trump will be successful here. Who knows? It's California, so who knows? But so far the judge seems to be like the encouraging thing about the rejection by the court today is that this seems like a judge who's looking to at least appear reasonable. Some judges don't care to even bother appearing reasonable. Maybe he is wholly reasonable. I don't know. At the very least, we have an appearance of an attempt to look reasonable. So that's encouraging that perhaps Judge Breyer will be fair and will come to the logical conclusion, which is that Trump trumps Gavin. Don't count your chickens till they hatch. The activist judge will impose the TRO tomorrow while the state burns. Any appeal will be too late. Too late for what? The state will burn? It is Section 3 that Trump wins. All sections are or. I know. But he wins hands down on Section 3. There's no ability to refute it. Notice does not say the governor can say no. It's ministerial. And that's the point I was getting at. That's precisely the point I was getting at. That it has to be ministerial. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. And that's why I said for efficacy reasons. Gavin said he never got a call from Trump. All right. So in the future, Trump should call him. And if he says no, then Trump can say, F you, I'm doing it anyway. But that's about the most I think that the judge has the authority to do here. TX47 says, Joe, check YouTube. Many of the federal district courts in California have streams. You have to know the courtroom number in case to find the stream you want, but those streams are scheduled. All right. I expect I'm going to be here. I expect I'm going to be streaming this. Damn it, Joe, do riots build on a lie? Next, you're going to need to take a trank after. That's what Uzelian is telling me. How do you know what's in his links? TX47 says, Joe, check YouTube. Many of the federal district courts in California streams. I think I see this twice. He did. He sent it to me twice. Well, thank you. You have to know the courtroom number and the case to find the stream you want, but those streams are scheduled. Damn it, Joe, do rights built on a lie next. You're going to need to take a drink. Okay. I'm on it, Uzelian. I'm on it. Before he blows a gasket here. There's a whole bunch of threads. There's a lot of threads. We have a prior case in this AK when JFK sent in National Guard to integrate schools. Yeah, well, the governor says, no, I don't like your policy. So too bad, so sad. This is an article. All right, this is what Jim gave me here on this topic. He gave me Mexican nationalists and open border militants in LA rioted over the arrest of illegal migrants with serious criminal records. As ICE carried out operations in LA over the past week, more than 100 illegal immigrants were arrested, including individuals with serious criminal histories on Friday alone. ICE agents arrested nearly 45 individuals at various locations across the city, including 2 Home Depot stores, according to Fox News. The enforcement actions triggered large-scale demonstrations over the weekend as anti-ICE activists gathered to protest the operations. Among those arrested throughout the weekend was Roland Veneracion Enriquez, a Philippine national with a violent criminal record in California, previously been sentenced to 4 years for burglary and later received a 37-year prison sentence for sexual penetration with a foreign object by force and assault with intent to commit rape. Another arrest involved Jose Gregorio Medranda Ortiz, an Ecuadorian national who was given an 11-year prison sentence for conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute 5 kilograms or more of cocaine. ICE also arrested Armando Ordaz, a Mexican national, history of sexual battery and alleged gang affiliation in LA. Victor Mendoza Aguilar, another Mexican national, alleged active gang member, was taken into custody for past offenses. Basically, a whole bunch of slimy people. ICE's enforcement campaign has drawn harsh criticism for city leaders. Mayor Karen Bass condemned the operation, saying that Los Angeles will not stand for what she claimed were terror tactics from ICE. Okay. All right. Let's move along. Federal sources ID some of the criminal illegal alien targets ICE in their LA operation. They include multiple gang members, convicted sex offenders, violent gun offenders, and drug offenders. One has already been deported. They include, so this isn't going to get me all agitated. These are people who are scum, and of course the left loves them because they're scum. Jose Allen Hernandez Morales. No, I see. Allegan knows what sets me off. This isn't going to set me off. So many Maryland fathers. That's funny. We need to take California back. That's what we need to do. Homeland Security says we will not be deterred by rioters. ICE immigration enforcement will only ramp up. Good. Go get them. That was at 3:11 p.m. yesterday. Federal law enforcement is working to protect and safeguard American citizens. Here's some of the criminal illegal aliens recently arrested in Los Angeles. Russell Gomez Zul, Mexican national illegally present in the United States. Initial for assaulting a federal officer. Arturo Diaz Perez, Mexican national for administrative immigration violations. Previous criminal convictions for narcotics. Carrying controlled weapon. Currently detained in ICE custody pending. Juan Antonio Flores Felician, previously deported, Mexican national. Felician has previous criminal convictions for burglary, possession of stolen property, receiving stolen property. Currently detained. HSI Los Angeles arrested Felman Alejo Garcia, Mexican national for administrative immigration violations. For drunk driving. And currently detained. Diego Hernandez Canones, Alvarado, Colombian national. This guy also driving under the influence and was already arrested for burglary. Just one winner after another. ICE Los Angeles. Julian Riveros Cadavid, a Colombian national for administrative immigration violations. Domestic battery, child endangerment, assault with deadly weapon, grand theft, and narcotics violations. Surprise, surprise. Cielo Vivar Ubaldo. Convictions for being a sick, demented individual here. Sick human being in addition to narcotics and hit and run. Do it next. Garment Warehouse, a storefront in LA that ICE searched on Friday, is a money laundering operation for cartels. ICE presence in these places is what kicked off this chaos, and Democrats are too stupid and lost to realize they're defending the cartel.
United States, that this money, the 80 warehouse and retail outlet that you served warrants on, the belief is, and the evidence suggests, that this is a cartel-related business here in the United States, that this money, the $80 million that they are suspected of undervaluing, the double-digit millions in tariffs that they are suspected and will be charged with violations on, income tax evasion. You believe that all of that is benefiting an illegal cartel, a cartel in Mexico or Colombia. Do you know which cartel?
No, it's a larger investigation, and this company is one of many that we're searching and gathering evidence on the fact that much of the money in this industry is laundered to Colombia and Mexico in support of cartel activities. We also got tax evasion, and we also got customs fraud. And ICE, big part of ICE responsibilities are customs laws, customs enforcement. So this is one business out of many we're looking at. So it's a part of a bigger investigation. And as we gather more evidence, then we'll decide what we want to criminally prosecute, specifically for.
Now,
there you go. So it's still under investigation. We're still not sure. We don't want to hazard a guess. Do not want to hazard a guess, which is wise. I really wanted to get to the Bionics distribution. So this is, I had here, I saw this morning, I think I saved it. Yeah, I did save it. I want to share this with you. This is not from Jim. This was my research from this morning. So Alex Michelson reported, breaking, we just saw people arrive in downtown LA with truckloads of bionic face shields that demonstrators quickly grabbed. Certainly seems like gear you'd wear if you're preparing for conflict with police. Bionic face shields. They cost like $45 to $60, these things. Bionic face shield. And this is what Walmart may be funding. Now, I think a lot of what she claims is speculative, so I want to just stress this is her opinion or somewhat speculation, but
this is
that's loud.
Is wild. A mysterious black truck just passed out all of these expensive bionic face shields to protesters in LA, and the news caught it on camera. I zoomed in and found out this is the UVEX bionic shield. These are not cheap. They're around $45 to $65, and you can't just get them in bulk. But one place that sells them is Walmart. And why is that important? Because there's a new protest being promoted called No Kings on June 14th. And even celebrities like Chrissy Teigen are posting it. And it's in magazines and newspapers. And guess who's behind this message? Christy Walton. That's right, one of the billionaire heiresses, a part of the Walmart family. Now, I don't know why they would be behind that protest against President Trump, but remember, just less than 3 weeks ago, President Trump tweeted about the whole tariff situation, saying Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart made billions of dollars of last year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything. I'll be watching, and so will your customers. So, is it possible that maybe the Walmart family didn't like that and now they're finding ways to make their voices heard? Or is this just a big coincidence? As always, let me know what you think about all of this down below.
I read bits of a book which was talking about how aggressive Walmart has been, how they became Walmart. Because 40 years ago, there was no such thing. How Sam Walton built his Walmart empire. And through some of which is some of the tactics that are alleged in this book, like dissecting Walmart. This book basically believes Walmart is the heart of evil. And that the way they will price out people and monopolize industries. I'm not saying they've done anything illegal. I'm not alleging that. I'm simply saying that their tactics are push the envelope as to of whether it's free trade or because what they have the capacity because they sell such large numbers. Certainly before this book came out long before Amazon was a thing, and Amazon likely put a major damper on Walmart. I would assume that Amazon ended up eating into Walmart's sales considerably, but that when Sam Walton built Walmart, that they basically would take advantage of distributors and make them lower prices and stuff because, they were buying in such large quantities, and how they managed to take over industries altogether. Which means that rich your rich BFF type of person, right? Talking about how the cheap labor comes from illegal immigrants. The chances are very high that far more significant to Walmart's, from Walmart's perspective, far more significant than the tariffs is the cheap labor. I think the cheap labor is worth billions of dollars to them. It helps them keep their prices down. And I think that they are direct beneficiaries of the cheap labor. So my speculation is that I understand why you would think, given recent news, that the tariffs would be a motivation for Walmart to sort of try and punish him back. But their interest in keeping illegals here is their own pecuniary interest, their own financial interest. So even if there were no tariffs, I think that they would be against getting rid of illegal aliens. I don't think that the situation with the tariffs helped. It might have amped them up a little bit more. But even if there were no tariffs, they would want illegal aliens here. I mean, it stands to reason that they're the direct beneficiaries. The agriculturists, they're the ones who make a lot of money by having cheap labor. So you don't need to have the tariffs to sell me on this, on this Walton woman, owner of Walmart, Christy Walton being all excited about doing everything she can to weigh in on this issue. So she's far more likely to weigh in on this issue than she is on a climate change issue. So if Trump was fighting the climate change activists, I don't know if she'd be giving out stuff so fast. And I'm not saying she was involved in this, but that's the bionic face shield. So that, and given that context, now there's a whole search to try and figure out, okay, who is involved with this whole bionic face shield thing? I haven't looked at these links yet. These are Jim's links. He had a whole thing here about drivers handing out those bionic mask works for Teamsters Union. That does not preclude him from being related to Walmart. Let's go through these links real quick here. Sleeper cell ops. A mysterious man in a black truck dropped off Uvex bionic face shields of a protester and handed them out like candy. Just feels like something's about to happen. Bionic face shield specs. Full frame design totally protects head and neck from chemical splashes and flying debris. Recommended for machinists and auto body shops. Lightweight ratcheting headgear, anti-fog, anti-scratch polycarbonate face shield. Contour shape provides excellent visibility. Ultra clear lens. Bionic shields being trucked for the LA rioters. Who's paying for this? They're $60 a pop. That's not something you buy in bulk if you don't plan on doing something with it. These criminals plan on destroying our entire country if we let them. Thank God for President Trump. It's true.
There's no local police to be seen. Yeah. And we have people handing out masks to describe where it just feels like something's going to happen and you're waiting for it to happen. And you can look around, you see the National Guard in front of the federal building, but as far as this intersection where we're seeing all this take place, there's no local police to be seen. Yeah. And we have people handing out masks and gas masks, and we just saw people graffitiing the sidewalk right in front of this truck, and we've seen people doing burnouts in the street. There's no local law enforcement around.
Let us clarify, because we've been showing
because Karen Bass sucks
from a different angle. A whole lot of officers on the other side of the federal building, almost behind you, and perhaps the visual is obstructed from your point of view. But I can tell you there are many, many, many LAPD cars and officers there.
Well, they're doing nothing effective.
That freeway overpass, so protesters can't get on that overpass like they did
that would
yesterday.
Be effective. I strike that back.
Bricks or concrete or scooters down on law enforcement that was below that had cleared the 101 freeway. So perhaps they're not where you are, but there's a lot of them already positioned there. They're not getting caught off guard by a crowd gathering.
That's the guy in the truck who should be called in for questioning.
What we have there of these folks, and your photographer just gave us a great shot of the box that was left behind, which showed the brand of mask. I mean, it's not the kind of thing, thank you for seeing this there. It looks like a bionic shield is what that's called. I mean, that's not the kind of thing that you buy in bulk if you don't plan on doing something with it. And the fact that that's being handed out kind of like candy to everybody gives you an indication that
staged.
These folks probably plan to be here for a while.
And that it's staged. That's what the indication you get. Make him famous. This is the man distributing bionic face shields to the rioters. There's your bionic face shield. Breaking photo has surfaced of the man behind the wheel of a truck used to deliver and hand out tens of thousands of dollars worth of face shield masks to rioters in LA. He's reportedly affiliated with Local 399, a Southern California chapter for the Teamsters for a Democratic Union. It's not your local Teamsters like, pipe fitters. No, these are anarchists. That's what they are. If this guy isn't in custody yet, shame on the FBI. Grok, tell us about any nefarious activities by Teamsters unions committed since its inception. 1903, since they were founded in 1903, they faced allegations of nefarious activities, particularly from the 1940s and 1980s. Early leaders like Cornelius Shea demanded bribes, and by the 1940s, the union was deemed the most corrupt in the U.S., with Kansas City local ties to embezzlement and extortion. 50s to 80s, leaders like Jimmy Hoffa used pension funds for mafia projects, including L.A. casinos. 1986 DuPont Plaza Hotel fire involved Teamsters members in a labor dispute, with some pleading guilty. Despite reforms like the 1989 consent decree and reduced oversight by 2015, recent issues persist, including 2020 racketeering charges and 2024 fraud investigations. There you go. Grok to the rescue. Ford driver has been identified. He works at Democrat. What's his name? Ferris Bueller reference here. Good job, Ryan. He does look like the guy who stole the Ferrari. What's his name? That's definitely the same person. Okay, this is not organic. I agree with Kayleon on that. Marxist Brown Beret, they're mobilized in at least LA and Dallas right now. The radical, potentially violent Marxist Brown Berets are leading the anti-ICE demonstrations in Dallas, Texas. Dallas police has been arrested. If you spot this racist Mexican extremist organization, call the police.
Good evening. Buenas tardes. Good evening, raza. Buenas tardes. Hola, buenas tardes. Mire, aquí estamos en el puente, el Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge. Aquí estamos, va a haber una protesta hoy a las 7 en contra de ICE y en solidaridad con Los Angeles. Solidarity with LA, right? So today there is a rally at the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge at 7 p.m. Against the ICE bullshit and in solidarity with our raza in Los Angeles. So aquí estamos, ya está la gente aquí llegando. The evening.
Scum. Wow. Good job, Jim. Good job. All right, let's see what other topics we can get to. I still got some time here. Still got a few minutes left. We'll go with your first topic. Which topic you think, Jim? Which topic you think I should do next? Give me a number, Jim. Multiple NGOs, Newark, New Jersey, federal grand jury. LA rioters want to be feared. Covered this. I guess we should stick with the theme here. I mean, Trump's saying he's open to invoking the Insurrection Act if he feels it's warranted. that's not really, to me, that's not anything. Obviously, he would if he feels it's warranted. So to me, that's not anything. I'm curious about the Neville Simon thing. So we can cover that real quick. Neville Simon is from SEIU, which is an organization that's funding these rioters. So apparently, we have Congress calling this guy in. Thanks to the investigative work of Data Republican, House Oversight will issue a formal document request to Neville Singham regarding his Singham regarding his funding of a communist group linked to the LA riots and the CCP. If he refuses to appear, he will be subpoenaed, and if he ignores that, he'll be referred to the DOJ for prosecution. Because the investigation into him linked Neville Singham's funds to the Party of Socialism and Liberation, which organized the anti-ICE protests that forced Pentagon to deploy 700 Marines. So it could be that those bionic masks were funded by this PSL. That's possible, certainly. It's not Walmart's. Singham lives in Shanghai and funds pro-Beijing media, donated over $20 million to organizations like the People's Forum to PSL-related groups, which makes him a foreign agency, I would say. Same network funded pro-Palestinian campus protests at Columbia. PSL's fingerprints are all over the June 8th LA riots. They allegedly printed signs, provided spokespeople, and mobilized protesters in multiple cities across San Antonio. Senate Republicans Marco Rubio and Lindsey Graham demanded thorough investigations into Singham's CCP ties. No action was taken. While Americans debate immigration policy, a Chinese billionaire funds street chaos through communist organizations. Foreign interference isn't just about elections anymore.
Just found a really great deep dive here from the Data Republican on X. So who is behind all these crazy riots in LA and that will be across the nation? Just like remember in the Summer of Love with BLM, remember who's organizing all that stuff. With this specifically is being funded by an individual by the name of Neville Singham, who actually made his money by pushing communist Chinese propaganda, became a billionaire doing it. He's now funding, and the guy behind all of these protests was also behind and tied to the protests at Columbia University, pushing all of that BS, if you don't remember. And then also, too, if you actually look at the social organization that's putting out these flyers, it's the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which is, and I kid you not, the actual Communist Party. So they're using Hispanics, they're using illegal immigrants, they're trying to hype people up thinking that they care, but they don't care. They would stop illegal immigration. Obama deported people. Why all of a sudden now? It's political.
There you go. Meet the new George Soros. This is Neville Roy Singham and his wife Jody Evans. Neville, tech millionaire who bankrolls far-left causes in the U.S. and Britain, has funneled at least $20.4 million to a firm that's now organizing the Free Palestine protests we see across the globe. The scum. Given tens of thousands of dollars to fund Ilhan Omar and other squad members. He shares an office in Shanghai with CCP propaganda firm, and he was named as a central figure behind a global Chinese propaganda network. His wife, Jody, is a radical activist and the co-founder of Code Pink. Ironically, she's a supporter of the Chinese genocide against Uyghur Muslims by Xi. Two slimy scums. I covered this Data Republican thing the other day. Neville Singham funded pro-Palestinian campus protests, now tied to anti-ICE riots. We covered this from her, I think, yesterday. There's PSL involvement in San Francisco. Oh, we don't have an actual clickable link there. In Chicago. You may recall 60-plus people were charged with trespassing at Arizona State University in Tempe when they attempted to establish an autonomous zone. The encampment made national news when it was revealed that the vast majority of those arrested were not ASU students. Guess which group organized it? None other than the one who organized the past weekend's ICE protest, PSL. Students for Justice in Palestine was also credited for the pro-Palestinian protests that occurred on campuses last year. PSL and SJP collectively organized many of the Palestinian protests last year. But who's backing Students for Justice in Palestine? Turns out Senator Ray launched an investigation. Students for Justice is found in Palestine is funded by none other than Neville Singham. It's important to understand Neville Singham, Russia, CCP, Russia are fundamentally opposed to George Soros. Yes, both Singham and Soros are extreme left, but Singham is the old school communist, Marxist, Leninist subversive, whereas Soros works with socialists. To that end, don't be surprised that PSL opposes NATO because they want the CCP Marxism to be our replacement overlords. However, as I stated many times, Singham and Soros will happily team up when it comes to common enemies, which includes Trump, Israel, and a handful of other issues. Already documented wherein individual Soros helped back and promote some of the June 7th, 8th protests. Neville Roy Singham himself lives in Shanghai and has been active in spreading CCP propaganda for years. Singham's wife, Jody Evans, founded Code Pink. Her focus is on telling us how China is not our enemy, with a book set to be published soon. Singham operates a network of pro-Palestinian NGOs and seems likely, given his history and affiliations, he's doing at the behest of the CCP. Marco Rubio and Lindsey Graham sent a letter to Merrick Garland begging the then AG Garland to investigate Singham. Of course, he did nothing. Perhaps Ed Eagle will take over from here now that Singham is well linked to the past weekend's anti-ICE protests. So he's deeply tied to PSL, group behind the anti-ICE protests. He was the force behind the pro-Palestinian campus unrest. Senate Republicans urged Biden administration to investigate for Farah, and he's operating on behalf of the CCP. If all is true, and there's a lot of evidence it is, we're actively ignoring CCP influence on U.S. soil. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Enough is enough. Great breakdown, as usual, by Data Republican. Great breakdown indeed. That is my show. Uzana says, Joe, go down taxpayer funding. It always starts with an NGO we fund. At least something seems to be Cash Patel seems like he might be doing something about this. FBI's Patel says Bureau investigating funding behind anti-ICE riots. Well, look at this. This is encouraging. As parts of LA burn under the fury of riots, there are burning questions in Washington about who instigated the protests against immigration enforcement operations and whether any funding is coming from foreign sources. FBI Director Cash Patel told Just the News the Bureau is investigating the money trail behind these organizations, those organizing and promoting demonstrations. Quote, the FBI is investigating any and all monetary connections responsible for these riots, Patel said in a statement. After initial and largely peaceful demonstrations, protests escalated over the weekend to include more than 1,000 rioters filmed assaulting immigration officers. Images of violent rioters waving Mexican and other foreign flags as you got to wonder where all these Mexican flags come from. It's not like there's a Mexican flag store, is there? I mean, where the hell are they coming from? I think that's part of the evidence that this is organized. If I asked you to come up with a flag of Pakistan, how long would it take you to dig up one of those, much less the thousands we've seen floating across Southern California? Now, true, there's probably more Mexicans there. It's probably easier to find that than Pakistan. But you get my point. There's a lot of those flags there. Month-old footage of Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum threatening to mobilize over legislative proposals to tax remittances to Mexico resurfaced in light of the protests, raising concerns about whether rhetoric from south of the border could be inflaming tensions. Sheinbaum condemned the violence, but promising Mexican government commitment to all Mexicans, regardless of immigration status. Andy Biggs says you got the outside influencers, the Mexican flags, and all the people, the Mexican president Shine Brown. All these people, they hate this country and they want to change this country, and it'll turn basically the country into a third world hellhole. Big City is no doubt that foreign influence is driving the protests, at least in part. No doubt in my mind. No doubt, not a doubt in my mind, he said. I mean, even if you just take statements of President Shine Brown of Mexico tacitly, she's basically encouraging this. True. Mark Harris from North Carolina says he fears some of the protests are being paid, and it's essential for Congress to follow that money trail. It's not Congress. No, we need the FBI. Well, I do think it's important for Congress to raise those questions and do that, look into it, and find out what we can do. I also think the Justice Department will play an important role, a much more important role. Congress is not meant for this. They'll have a dog and pony show, and they'll just plead the fifth and not answer any questions if they show up, which they probably won't, especially if he's in China. Why is he coming here if he's in Shanghai? What they will do is start looking for those connections between those financial and logistical networks, and these people depend on to create these, I would say, planned disturbances or augmented disturbances. So you're going to see them start going after some of those, supporting functions, so you can cut down on some of the people who basically become professional rabble-rousers and troublemakers. They get financed around the country to show up at different events and cause problems. Yep. So yeah, I think you're going to see the FBI make much more aggressive push into some of those areas to cut up their funding and their logistics. Pyotas added. Is this Pyota? Oh, he's the FBI Executive Assistant Director. Good. Go get him, FBI. You guys think Kash Patel's doing nothing. One group is that PSL, Marxist group, which ties to the CCP. PSL said the demonstrators had taken a courageous stand against Trump's reign of terror targeting immigrant families, and that those taking to the streets are being falsely labeled as rioters. Yeah, they're just firing off mortar rounds. They're not rioters. But anyone who's getting his money is getting foreign influence money. Those people can be charged. Anyone who takes money from this guy, they can be charged, I would think. They don't register with FARA, certainly. We talked about Shirley already. So that's encouraging. It's encouraging that the FBI is actually going after these folks. Hopefully we'll see some development on that soon. That's what I got for you tonight. Tomorrow, court starts at 1 o'clock. Also, I do plan Thursday. Please make sure you mark your calendar. Thursday afternoon, I do plan on live streaming that. I'm going to break from court early, and I'm going to come back here and set up a live stream, and I'm going to be live streaming that Southern District of California Trump versus Newsom oral argument. So I will be giving you a breakdown of how it looks. You can sort of get a feel for where the judge is at, usually based on the questions that they ask. A good level of questions come, and likely there'll be a decision very quickly, because when you're talking about emergency injunctive relief, they often will issue an order right then and there on the spot, if not, more often than not, but certainly within a couple of days. So I expect that I expect to be live streaming those oral arguments on Thursday. That starts, they said, at 1:30 p.m. That's 4:30 p.m. local Eastern time. 1:30 p.m. Pacific is 4:30 p.m. my time, and I plan on live streaming that at that time. Until tomorrow, my friends, I appreciate your joining me for tonight's festivities and the phenomenal conversation I had with you guys, both in the ghetto and in the chat here with the followers. You guys have been awesome as usual, and a special shout out to Kim. Stay strong, Kim, and God bless you, Jim. Thank you for helping me set up with all these links you provided. Make sure you sign up to Jim. Jim tells you, sign up to that guy. He is awesome. You see, the source material he brings in is chef's kiss. I will see you all tomorrow. Make sure that if anyone shoves lab meat in your mouth, it's not for me. No, it's not for me. It's not for him. It's not for her. It's for they, them. It's not for you. Sure, not for you. Do not eat the bugs. Don't do it. Don't eat the bugs. I will see you all tomorrow. Till then, good night. Godspeed.